Piston fan. Their slogan was, "We come to work." That's what Detroit about. That's why they used it. It's a team thing. They won 2 championships, a team. There was no star. No mayor can come in here and be a star. It's a team thing. No governors can come in here and think you can do it by yourself. It's a team thing. You got communities. They got ideas too. The only thing wrong with Detroit, people have lost hope here. Residents, city workers, so much corruption. They lose hope. But I grew up here. I love this city. I think it can come back. I've been working for the city 24 and a half years. Within the last 10 years, we took 4 pay cuts and then an additional 10% wage cut. I've lost a home.
When you take all of the decisions out of the city of Detroit, all of us, then what do you have? Exactly what we got, a lot of problems. Every time the city seems to fall into a problem, it's always on the backs of us workers.
You wake up out of a dead sleep and you jump behind the wheel and take off driving and try to get everybody there safe, not knowing really what you're pulling up to, not eligible for Social Security, so the pension is my sole salary at this point.
We've been in business here 39 years. We've seen a lot of changes in Detroit. The area was a lot of industry, a lot of city workers. It's getting very tough for the city workers. It's getting tough for us as a business people.
Response times are increasing because of the closing of companies, which takes your insurance rate through the roof. So all the things that affect us affect the citizens.
I worked for the city in different capacities for 29 years. I feel like an old jacket. They use me up and they throw me away. In my condition, nobody's gonna hire me. I'm 68 years old. Half the times, I can't get my blood pressure medicine. It's either feeding myself blood pressure or paying bills.
754. By the time they take all the deductions for I have my car insurance, my house insurance, and my health insurance taken out. So the time they take all that, I'll get about $300 after they take all that out. I don't understand it. I can't see how the governor is allowing this to happen and what they're doing and they want to blame it all on the seniors. Not only the seniors, but the city workers. And we worked hard. I know I worked hard.
I've been in Detroit since 1946. I was 14 years old when I came in. I don't live large at all. I wish I could. I haven't opened the last time I've been shopping. I only get $1,100 and I'm 81 years old and I need every penny that I can get and that I do get. And I'm very, very upset about the idea of them taking away my pensions that I worked 30 years for.
I think it's terrible that they talk about Detroit like they do, because Detroit has been very good to me.
I have a lot of city workers coming in with their uniforms on, Detroit Water Department, Police Department, Fire Department. I get a lot of people, the Border Patrol come in. So if I lose that customer base, I'm going to be in a position where I might have to close down. If they take away their pensions, if they start cutting jobs, it's going to cut into a large percentage of not only our business, but other businesses that are in the city of Detroit. We're here. We've been here for 26 years. We're still trying to do business in the city.
Detroiters are survivors. They tough, they adapt, but only can do so much when your politicians are ahead of you and we're not on the same team. We're not gonna let Detroit be erased, bulldozed, or whatever. We're gonna fight to the bitter end. Detroit gonna survive.
Okay, friends and neighbors, we'll be back to the news of the day in just a moment here. But first, I've got one important question to ask all of you. Have you made your pledge yet to Free Speech TV? And if not, why the hell not? Come on, seriously. You know, we depend on you, we need you, and we count on you to keep us going here at Free Speech TV, because you're all we've got. We don't get any corporate money, we don't get any government money, so all of us, you know, depend. Tom Hartman and Amy Goodman, all the rest depend. Stephanie Miller depend on you to keep us going on Free Speech TV, so we can continue the good work that we do, looking over the news every day. What's happening in Washington? What's happening around the country? What's happening around the globe? What are the important issues that we ought to talk about? Particularly, what are the progressive issues that we ought to be talking about and working on and fighting for? Figuring out the best guests that we can get in studio or on the phone that particular day to help us understand these issues. And then, of course, opening up the phones and opening up the social media lines so you can get involved in the conversation and express your comments and your opinion on what it all means to you and to your family. That's what we do every day. We can only do it with your help. So we ask you to dig in once again. Help keep us on the air here at Free Speech TV. If you can just do $10 a month, that's $120 a year. We'll send you a BP mug, a Bill Press Show mug, and a pound of coffee from our favorite coffee shop just downstairs in this building, Peregrine Coffee. For $20 a month, $240, you will get a very, very special gift indeed. One of the great cheeses from Cowgirl Creamery out on the West Coast, right near where we live in California, Point Reyes Station. And for $30 a month or $360 a year, if you can make that pledge, you'll get the mug and the Cowgirl Creamery. And then, as a very, very special item to show you how much we appreciate your support, if you're in a position to pledge $1,000 to Free Speech TV, get yourself to Washington with a friend. Take the plane, take the train, take the bus, drive here, whatever. Carol and I will take you out to dinner the night before, and the next morning we'll invite you to join us in studio to meet the whole team here and to watch a special edition of the Bill Press Show. So with those incentives, hope that you will understand again and be inspired to do the right thing, particularly now at tax time, and take advantage of that this opportunity to get a little write-off on your taxes by helping Free Speech TV. So it's a twofer. You keep progressive television, Free Speech TV on the air, and you get the tax benefit as well. But again, no government money, no corporate money. Here at Free Speech TV, we depend on you. Thanks so much for your help.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified, not knowing what to do. they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show. Good morning, everybody. Friday, March 21st. My name is Peter Ogburn, in for Bill Press. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Live on your radio, on TawkrTV, youtube.com/TawkrTV, TAWKR-TV, and on Free Speech TV, seen on DirecTV and Dish Network. Glad you are there on this, God, I got that NCAA hangover, man. Just so much basketball yesterday. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk some basketball. We're going to talk about the 4th anniversary of the Affordable Care Act, and we will talk a little bit about the ongoing search for the Malaysian air flight that is still missing. Again, my name is Peter Ogburn. Follow me on Twitter all throughout the show, at Peter Ogburn, OGBURN, Peter Ogburn on Twitter. I'm going to sort of keep you up to date there. Running the board today is Elisa Murphy. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday indeed.
Woohoo.
If you call our phone number, 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377, you will talk to Alicia Cruz, standing by to take your phone calls. And if you are watching us on DirecTV, on Free Speech TV, on TawkrTV, you are, look, there he is. There's Cyprian Bolding, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, you got a little cameo from Cyprian on this Friday morning. Well, I did the thing I was not supposed to do. I stayed up crazy late last night to watch basketball. Now, I want to be very clear about my position on the NCAA tournament. I think it's phenomenal. I think it's great. I look forward to it. However, I didn't fill out a bracket this year because every year that I do, I end up sort of being a slave to the bracket, right? Like I'm worried about my bracket, and like you're watching this game and it's an exciting game, but you've got this team going farther than that, than it looks like they're going to go. So you start freaking out, and what's this going to do? You're going to deal with the embarrassment and the coworkers giving you grief. So I didn't do one. I let my 6-year-old fill it out.
Is Magnus really stressed out about it?
He doesn't care. That's the great thing. Magnus doesn't care. He doesn't watch basketball. He picked. You know what? Here's some of the mentality on Magnus's Final Four. First of all, he picked Florida to win it all. Because that's where Disney World is. He has Michigan going to the Final Four. You want to know why he picked Michigan going to the Final Four? Because their mascot is the Wolverine, and Wolverine is his favorite comic book character.
That's some excellent logic, I'd have to say.
That's how I figured out. He picked Virginia going to the Final Four because Virginia is just below us. Yeah. So he's sort of like, he's all over the place. However, so far, that's not paying off. Magnus is dead last in the office pool. It's the first round.
Yeah, I know.
So this doesn't really mean anything. So it's not like I care whether or not he wins or loses. But that's weird. Magnus is tied for dead last with Cyprian Bolding. That's weird, Sip. There is so much farther to go in this thing that to start worrying about where you stand in your bracket right now would be a little goofy.
How long is March Madness?
How long is it? When's the championship? Yeah,
April
it's
7th.
So it's on and off until then.
Okay.
However, we should point out that number one on the bracket challenge here in the Bill Press Show is Elisa Murphy.
Yes.
You and Bill are tied.
Awesome. Bill is going to take me down, I'm pretty sure, though.
Wait, you picked, you picked Harvard? Was it you that picked Harvard?
Yep.
You don't even remember, do you? You don't even remember.
Especially that far out, early on, I don't really remember.
Tell me about your strategy of why you picked Harvard. Go ahead.
I actually, because my sister went to Harvard Medical School, same kind of thing. That's why I picked it.
Okay.
It's kind of an affinity thing. I actually have Gonzaga in my top 4, which is probably going to take me out.
Why did you pick that?
I actually went to St. Mary's College.
Okay.
The Gales are pretty big.
All right.
So I wanted some West Coast love, a little Gonzaga.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, we'll see. We'll see how this all plays out. Yeah, I'm really, really, really enjoying the fact that I don't have a bracket to worry about. I'm not gonna lie.
It was interesting how Cindy doesn't even do a bracket. I would have thought she would, but it's probably the same reason you're not doing it. Your head's not in it.
That and she's consumed by it, and also she's, an unbiased journalist. But yesterday during the day, like Ohio State was playing Dayton. And Dayton, huge underdog, they won.
Yeah,
and I was watching the game, and I was thinking, how great would it be to see Dayton beat Ohio State?
That's awesome. I do like that when the underdog comes.
If I had a bracket that had Ohio State going to the Sweet 16, I'd be going nuts.
Yeah.
Because I'd screw my bracket up. But guess what? I'm free from the bracket. I have no pressure whatsoever.
You can watch freely.
I can watch it, and I can root for the underdog. That being said, I lived in Dayton for a little while.
Oh.
Let me just tell you, the longest 4 years of my life are the 6 months that I lived in Dayton. That's a
spent a week there one night, right?
That's a sad little town. Shout out to Dayton, though. Good for them, though, for beating Ohio
Must have been a big night last night in Ohio.
Oh, I'm sure. By the way, I mentioned them on Twitter, at Peter Ogburn. We're also tweeting at BP Show. Good morning to Cypher Dragon, who's already tweeting. Hi, what's up, man? I love your show, and I always listen to Bill Press Show online and on the radio, and I'm a teen, too. Okay, good morning. Good morning, Cypher Dragon. hopefully perky for a Friday morning. All right, so let's move into some news, because this is a story I've seen sort of growing over the years. And it's worth talking about. And that is the story of vaccinating your children. And I know it's sort of a controversial thing to talk about. And I know that, when you get into the health and wellness of anyone's children, you want to take it seriously. And I am taking it seriously. Especially, I'm the father of 2 boys. And there is a movement to not vaccinate children because they think that it could lead to autism or that it could lead to other diseases, and that the medical community hasn't refined or finessed or mastered the vaccinating process, and that there are toxins and pollutants inside those vaccinations that really interfere with the child's growth and development and could also cause major problems. Now, Jenny McCarthy, host of The View, was the strongest advocate for people not vaccinating their children. There was a study that was done several years ago by a man that pointed out that there was a link between vaccinations and autism. However, about 2 years ago, that study was discredited. It turns out that he manufactured some of his data, and it was complete and total BS. Which you would think would have driven spike into the heart of the anti-vaccination movement. However, there are still thousands of people around the country who maintain that vaccinating your children, vaccinating their kids, is bad for their health. There are record numbers of whooping cough, mumps, measles, all because parents won't vaccinate their children. Now, the biggest boogeyman in this anti-vaccination movement is the MMR vaccine, right? The measles, mumps, rubella. And parents think that there's too much medicine, with the possibility of too many toxins, that they don't want to give their kids. And so you've seen a rise in measles, mumps, and rubella because parents aren't vaccinating their children. There is also a woman by the name of Kristen Cavallari, who's an actress, I think.
A reality star actress.
A reality TV show star. I think she's trying to be an actress.
Yeah.
But she has gone public with her plan when she and her husband had kids. She said, "We didn't vaccinate our son because we're worried about autism." She's pregnant with her second child. She says she never vaccinated her first. She has no intention of vaccinating her second. And it's opened up a whole new dialogue on this, to vaccinate or not to vaccinate. And my question for you at 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377 is, can we have an open and honest and real discussion about this topic? Because I am a big believer in science. I am a believer that scientists have looked at this data, looked at these stories, looked at what's going on out there, and doctors are almost completely on the same page with this, right? An overwhelming number of doctors, I should say, vaccinate your kids. What's wrong with you? However, there are still parents out there who are too scared and have too many concerns based on some of the fears that have been whipped up by celebrities and fear-mongering doctors. 866-55-PRESS is our phone number, 866-557-7377. Did you vaccinate your children, or did you decide not to vaccinate your children? I'd love to hear from parents on this, especially if you've made the decision to not vaccinate your children. Now, confession time. We, in my family, we did not vaccinate our children for quite some time. And part of the reason is we were moving around a lot. Our oldest son got way behind on doctor stuff. It was before I settled down here with the Bill Press show, and we were moving. So we got backed up on a lot of his shots. So we caught him up on all of his shots at once. And we noticed that there were some changes, and we were concerned. And this is before this report was discredited, and so we sort of took it day by day, and we went through a period where we weren't giving him his proper vaccinations. But I tell you that story to show that, like, I understand where parents come from. I should point out that my kids are not completely vaccinated. We're all up to speed. But there was a time that I understood where these people are coming from. You don't want to see your kids get hurt in any way. And there is some fear over the unknown of what happens and that sort of thing. So I understand that. It's a safe place to have that conversation here on the Bill Press Show at 866-55-PRESS. However, when you have Hollywood celebrities like Jenny McCarthy and Kristen Cavallari running around saying, well, we are not vaccinating our kids because of autism fears, I don't think that that's really raising the public discourse. Do a quick Google News search on vaccinations when you get the chance. Whooping cough, measles are back thanks to anti-vaccination truthers. Physician, vaccinations very important. Northern Health warns of whooping cough outbreak. North Cross Lower School reports whooping cough case reported. Waukesha County Schools, whooping cough spreading through the schools. Mumps outbreak at Ohio State. 28 cases of mumps linked to Ohio State University. You're seeing all these stories of illnesses that you can get vaccinated for, and yet there are some parents who are not doing it. 866-55-PRESS is our phone number. 866-557-7377. Call us, let us know about your experience with the vaccinations or the anti-vaccination debate. Or leave us a tweet at BP Show or at Peter Ogburn on Twitter. It is the Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn. 866-55-PRESS. Give us a call.
This is the Bill Press Show.
All right, friends and neighbors, we'll get back to the news of the day in just a moment here. But first, I got a couple of questions for you. First one, are you enjoying Free Speech TV? Well, I know the answer to that one. If you weren't, you wouldn't keep watching. We appreciate that. Good to have you with us. And the second question is, since you enjoy Free Speech TV so much, have you done your share to keep us on the air? Have you made your pledge? If so, we thank you because so many of you have. But if not, let's get on it. Do it today. It is so important. Look, again, I don't have to tell you how special Free Speech TV is. I'm very, very proud to be part of it. Less than a year right now. But it's the only place you can find such great hosts, Tom Hartman, Stephanie Miller, Amy Goodman. I hope I'm one of them. And it's all content-free, no commercials, the only truly independent and progressive cable channel that is out there. You won't find it anywhere else. But the thing is, we depend on you. That's the only way we can stay on the air. We get no corporate money, no government money, no sponsor money, right? It is all from our viewers that keep us going. So we ask you to give us a call today, 877-378-8669, or you can go to freespeech.org and make your pledge. And as a little reward for making your pledge, if you can do us this $10 a month, $120, we'll send you a Bill Press Show mug. You can have your coffee with us every day, and a pound of coffee from Washington's favorite little coffee shop, which is right downstairs in our building. It's called Peregrine Coffee. If you can afford $20 a month, $240 pledge, you will get a very, very special treat from one of my favorite little businesses out in West Marin, California, West Marin County, from Cowgirl Creamery, a selection of their best cheeses. I think they're the best cheeses on the planet, and I've lived in Switzerland, so I know. Cowgirl Creamery for $240. For $360 or $30 a month, we'll send you the Cowgirl Creamery and a mug. And here's something very, very special. If you can do it and you can afford $1,000 for Free Speech TV, then make your way to Washington as a little special treat. I'll take you out to dinner with Carol, and we'll invite you and a guest in to watch the show the next morning here in our studio in downtown Washington, D.C. So those are just our ways of saying thank you ahead of time to you. Please do it. Please consider it today. And again, the number to call is 877-378-8669, or you can go to freespeech.org. We love bringing the show to you every morning, love being with you every day, and ask you to be with us by making your pledge as soon as you can and as generously as you can. Thank you so much.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Yes, indeed, it is The Bill Press Show, live on this Friday, March 21. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill today. Thank you all so very much for being there. I appreciate it. We're talking about vaccinations. The anti-vaccination movement continues to be out there. Celebrities, mostly, raising the idea that vaccinations are bad. Most recently, Kristen Cavallari saying she's not going to, or she didn't vaccinate her first child. She has no intention of vaccinating her second child, with whom she's pregnant. So we're taking your calls at 866-55-PRESS on vaccinations, your experience with them, and whether or not you think people have the right to not vaccinate their children, or whether or not they're being ignorant and harming others around them by not. 866-55-PRESS. Let's say hey to Brooke in McHenry, Illinois. Good morning, Brooke.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. What's your take on this?
My take on it is I actually have a 9-year-old with severe autism.
Okay.
And I do believe in vaccinations, but I believe that they need to be spread out. I believe in not giving them all at, the time that the doctors want them all given.
I think that's reasonable and fair, and I also think that that's something that responsible parents these days, now that we have, and we've heard stories, talk to your physician, talk to your doctor, and sort of find out what works best. But yeah, you want to get them on a schedule. You don't want to pump them all full of the vaccines right away.
Yeah, they give them too many at one time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I believe that if they just give them, to them in a longer period of time, but not as many, I think it's better for them.
All right, Brooke, I appreciate the call, 866-55-PRESS. I mentioned in the last week, we got more calls I'm going to take after the break here, by the way. We don't have time for any more, but if you want to get your call in, we got a line open, 866-55-PRESS. I mentioned this study, right? It was done by Dr. Andrew Wakefield. The British medical journal BMJ took a look at his study that said that vaccines led to autism. He was discredited, and it was called, quote, an elaborate fraud. So any of these people that you now hear saying, oh, vaccinations can lead to autism, or vaccinations lead to damages, they're referencing an elaborate fraud. Should we force parents to vaccinate their kids? 866-55-PRESS. My name is Peter Ogburn, in for Bill Press.
This is The Bill Press Show.
Hey, friends, we'll be back to the news and your commentary and your comments in just a moment. But first, let me just be very, very straight with you. We need your help. You know what Free Speech TV is all about? We're very, very lucky and very proud to be part of it. But it's the only place that you can find completely independent, unfettered, no restrictions, news and commentary from the left all day long, with no corporate money, no commercials, no government money. But without all of that, we depend on you. And we ask for your help and need your help this time of the year. By the way, it's a good time to make a contribution because you can take it off on your taxes. Don't forget that. We know you love free speech. If you didn't, you wouldn't be watching. But again, we can only stay on the air. The only source of funding we have is your help. So many of you have helped already. We thank you for that. And for those of you who haven't yet, you intend to do so, you just didn't get around to it, do it today. Call that number, 877-378-8669, 877-378-8669, or go to freespeech.org, freespeech.org, and make whatever pledge you can. Now, I hope you do it out of the goodness of your heart, but maybe just as a little extra incentive, we'll offer you a couple of special premiums. If you can pledge just $10 a month, $120 a year, we'll give you a Bill Press Show mug and a pound of coffee from our favorite coffee shop, Peregrine, right down on the street level in this building. For $20 a month, $240 a year, very, very special. The best cheese in the world, take it from me, made out in Point Reyes Station, California, from Cowgirl Creamery. They're wonderful, wonderful people. Send you a Cowgirl Creamery a special item. And for $360 a year or $30 a month, you'll get the mug and the Cowgirl Creamery. Now, here's something very, very special. Those of you who can, make a very special pledge of $1,000 to Free Speech TV. You get your way to Washington. I've got a deal for you. Carol and I will take you and a guest out to dinner and then invite you here into the studio the next morning to watch the show with all of us. So whatever pushes your button, please be as generous as you can. And again, do it today at that number, 877-378-8669. Take advantage of that tax opportunity to get your tax contribution. And most importantly, to show your support and show your help for Free Speech TV. We are there with you and for you every single day of the week. We need you to be there for us this one special time of the year. Thanks for your help.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Seen on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV. This is the Bill Press Show.
Happy Friday! It is the Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill today. Follow along on Twitter at BP Show. At BP Show. And I'm also tweeting at Peter Ogburn. Taking your calls on vaccinations. The anti-vaccination movement continues to make news with whooping cough and mumps outbreaks across the country. And named people, actresses, celebrities out there still saying they're not vaccinating their kids. I want to take your calls on that at 866-55-PRESS and ask the question, should it be mandatory that you vaccinate your children? That's a real question. Because, yes, you have the ability to raise your children, however, for the most part, however you'd like. But now we're getting into the idea that because you've decided to not vaccinate your children, you're making other kids sick. So should vaccinations be mandatory? Asking you that question at 866-55-PRESS. Couple of comments from Twitter. Vulcan Bard at Vulcan Bard says, Peter, we had this discussion over 100 years ago. I hope everybody is vaccinating because it's a real problem. Vaccination eliminated smallpox. Fortunately, the vaccine deniers were not present in the 60s and 70s. Good point, at Vulcan Bard. I appreciate that. Getting your calls at 866-55-PRESS. By the way, if you want to know what the weather is like in Washington, D.C. these days, just go read the book of Revelations. It's like end times here. First of all, yesterday, Glorious outside.
Beautiful.
I walked
first day of
outside.
spring.
It was like lunchtime. People are sitting outside having lunch. Spring. Later on yesterday, it got a little colder. Today's supposed to be lovely. Tomorrow's supposed to be like 70. Glorious.
Finally.
Oh, but by the way, there's a good chance we're going to see snow on Tuesday.
I hope it's not true. I know I read that. And it's from Jason Saminow, our trusted support.
Not even like a dusting. We're talking about like 5 to 8 inches.
I know.
In spring. Get out of here with that. Of course, you could be like this family in Newfoundland. They left Newfoundland to go spend the winter in Alberta, Canada. Because, Florida's booked? You go from Newfoundland to Alberta? You're Canadian. I mean, Alberta's not exactly like a...
Alberta's a lot warmer than Newfoundland.
Is that right?
Yeah.
How much warmer? Well, you go to Newfoundland or you go to Alberta in the winter? What are we talking?
Oh, Alberta's going to be cold. I mean, that's Calgary. That's where they had the Olympics.
Yeah, that's what I'm
in
saying.
the winter. So, but in Canada, you move west, it's warmer. That's why Vancouver, we don't even consider it Canada because it's warm.
Yeah. Well, this couple left their home in Newfoundland to go spend the winter in Alberta. They came back, can't find their house.
Are you serious?
Completely buried in snow.
Oh,
Completely buried in snow. And so they're trying to dig it out, but every time they dig it out, the drift will just close back up what they already shoveled.
Enough already.
I feel like that. At my house. 866-55-PRESS is our phone number. Talking about vaccinations. Let's go to John in Ferndale, Washington, who's been waiting very patiently. John, hey now.
Hey, Peter. How's it going?
Good. Thanks for the call. What's your take on this?
I think that there is a paralyzing fear amongst parents and people who have family members afflicted with autism, is that the rates are skyrocketing according to the PSAs on this very station. We don't know, and then I remember actually falling for that study, going aha, and then was okay, well it was refuted, so that's BS. But there was a detail about this mercury solution or some type of mercury solution that was used in the vaccines as a suspension or to keep it from, so you didn't have to refrigerate it. I don't know. But when that news came, I was like, what? Mercury? Why would they be, okay, it's safe. Prove it to me, because obviously mercury is a toxic metal, but somehow, the scientists have, ways of showing us. I hope, but I think that was a major driver. It came at a bad point. People linked that. I know I did. And so I'd never told anyone not to get vaccinated. I don't think you can really pass a law saying you must get your child vaccinated.
Sure.
But with education, if we can, show people, and for goodness sakes, I hope we find out what is driving the rates of autism, because that's just got to be terrible as a parent to think I could this, give my kid this vaccination to prevent them from getting measles, mumps, or rubella.
Couple things really quick, John, because I think that you hit a lot of really good points. I want to address a couple of them first of all. So the fear that parents have, I get it. I've been there. We had a similar situation with our first child where we sort of, on the advice of our physician, gave him a lot of shots to catch him up because we'd been moving so much. And we saw some concerns in him. And we were concerned, and this is before the study was discredited, and we saw that, and we freaked out. But as a believer in science, as a believer in smart people figuring things out and advancing society, when I saw that study had been discredited and that virtually every other scientist was saying this is okay, this is something that you should be doing, it keeps other kids healthy, right? Because we're not just talking about you and your kid, we're talking about the kids that they go to school with, who would be getting that whooping cough or whatever. You should just be doing this. You should be vaccinating your children. Mark in Fort Collins, Colorado, called 866-55-PRESS. Good morning, Mark.
Hey, Peter. How you doing?
Good, man. What's your take?
Yeah, thanks. I just wanted a quick comment about this. I think, no, to your answer, your question about should people be forced to vaccinate, that's obviously no. I mean, we can't really tell people what to do, of course. They need to be able to make their own decisions.
Well, I mean, here's my point on that, Mark. I mean, you can't go around randomly jabbing needles into kids, or and making sure that. But I mean, there are laws in place. Like for example, you have to have health care coverage. I mean, that's something that you have to have done. I mean, you have to have certain requirements and certain criteria, that keep you covered. I'm not saying that you should. I'm just saying that it is something that could be put on the books.
Sure. Well, I think the main thing that really concerns me out of all of this is it's really this kind of underground radio, like Alex Jones and Coast to Coast AM, that really kind of spreads this kind of fear and nonsense because, again, like you said, it's not really backed by any kind of science. I mean,
that's the thing to me that clicked in my head when we were having this discussion with our child. As a believer in science, there is no science behind the idea that vaccinations lead to autism. Now, there have been some studies here recently that have shown that it could be an issue of pollution and pollutants in the environment of these kids that lead to autism. But there is no scientific evidence that shows that vaccinations lead to autism. Chuck in Satan Fe, New Mexico. Chuck, good morning.
Yes, hi, how are you?
Good, Chuck. Thanks for calling.
I wanted to report that I got pertussis, which is whooping cough, and we had in the whole state here we had a real pandemic, and I don't think parents should be that worried about autism. Pertussis is very dangerous.
I hear what you're saying, Chuck, and I know that's. I mean, I do understand the parents' concerns about autism, and I understand the parents who want to do everything that they can to protect the well-being of their child. That part, I get, and I also get that it's scary that if you have a perfectly healthy child who all of a sudden begins acting in a way that you do not recognize, and acting in a way that that shows that there might be some characteristics of autism or on the spectrum or however. So I get that fear, and I also get the grasping onto finding out what happened. But unless you can show some sort of science, I don't buy it. The science isn't there. Scott in Ithaca, New York. Scott, welcome to the Bill Press Show. Called 866-55-PRESS. Good morning, Scott. All right, sounds like we lost Scott. Is Scott gone? Scott's gone. 866-55-PRESS is our phone number. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press. Thank you also very much for your comments and calls on vaccinations. Going to continue to take your comments online on Twitter at BP Show. And I'm tweeting at Peter Ogburn. Big rest of the show coming up. Susan Page coming up next from USA Today, the Washington Bureau Chief. Stay tuned.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Just a little break here and time out to tell you about something very, very important. It's that time again when we turn to you and ask for your help because we wouldn't be here without you. It's so funny. Everywhere I go, people always say, man, you got 3 hours to fill every morning. How do you do it? How do you keep up with all of it? Well, let me tell you, we work hard at it. I mean, we start at the end of every show. The first thing we do, we just sit right down and start planning the next day's show and get a rough outline kind of where we want to go and what guests we might want to have and what we think the big issues are going to be. And then we go out and all day long, we're watching the news, reading the news, looking at the websites, following everything. I'm down at the White House every day at the briefings and keeping on top of things down there. And then we, meantime, Peter and Elisa particularly are on the phone, booking our guests for the next day. We reconvene in a conference call at 5 o'clock every afternoon and find out what guests we've got and where we think we're going to go the next day in terms of issues and things we want to talk about. We're also watching that evening, and then the next morning before every show, we reconvene again and sit down and put it finally together. And then we're on the air. So, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but we love doing it, and we couldn't do it without you. That's the important thing, because Free Speech TV, no corporate money, no government money. It is all viewer contributions. We work only for you and depend on you and ask you to help us once again as generously as you can. And there's a little incentive to do so. You can go to freespeech.org, make your contribution, freespeech.org. If you can give us $120, that's $10 a month. We will send you a mug, a Bill Press mug, and a pound of coffee from Peregrine Coffee, our favorite coffee shop downstairs in this building, for $240 or $20 a month. From Cowgirl Creamery, the best cheese in the world, believe me, made in California, close to our home in California. A special package from Cowgirl Creamery. For $360 or $30 a month, you'll get the Cowgirl Creamery selection and a Bill Press mug as well. And a very special treat for those of you able to do so and willing to pledge $1,000 of Free Speech TV. You make your way to Washington anytime with a guest. I will take you and your guest out to dinner, some fabulous restaurant in Washington, and invite you in to watch the show the next morning. So I know you're part of the free speech community, or else you wouldn't be watching this morning. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your help in the past. And now please ask you to dig in again. You know how important it is. I know how much you depend on the independent expression of progressive opinion you only get on Free Speech TV. Now's the time to help again, and thank you.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Good morning. It is the Bill Press Show. 47 minutes past the hour on this glorious Friday, March 21st. It's supposed to be a lovely weekend here in Washington, D.C., like high of 70, which is great because we can get our hopes up and then have our spirit broken when it dips down to snow and freezing temperatures next week. So, oh boy. Anyway, we're here Friday. Peter Ogburn in for Bill Press. It's Friday, about 47 minutes past the hour. It's the same thing we do every Friday. We talk to our good friend Susan Page, Washington Bureau Chief from USA Today. Good morning, Susan.
Hey, good morning, Peter.
Bundle up. It's supposed to be more snow next week. Happy spring.
I don't want to hear that. No, not true.
You can follow her online at usatoday.com and on Twitter at Susan Page. A must follow. So, Susan, I want to start out talking about what's going to be a big story moving forward throughout next week. This Sunday is the 4th anniversary of the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. Where are we now with that? How is it being perceived, and where's the administration sort of view their accomplishments on that?
You know, the bad news, I think, for Democrats is that Republicans are more likely to want to celebrate this anniversary than they are. Because, you know, we hear anecdotes on both sides of people who have coverage and have saved money and have gotten, you know, whose lives are better because of the Affordable Care Act. But at the moment, I think it's toxic as a political issue and one of the big problems for Democrats going into 2014.
It's an interesting take, and I don't necessarily disagree with it. I think it was interesting yesterday. Nancy Pelosi was out speaking about it. She talked about how wonderful it is. She said we couldn't be prouder of Obamacare, and yet it's going to be a real issue in the midterms to see how candidates run with or run from the Affordable Care Act.
I mean, Nancy Pelosi, I think, might as well embrace it because it's the law of the land. They own it. Over the long haul, maybe it will turn out to be a great program that's venerated. But at the moment, it's really controversial, and you only have to look to the last special House race in Florida to see how big a problem that was for the Democrat who was running basically in favor of the Affordable Care Act, and the Republican running hard against it, and he is the one who's become a member of Congress.
Meanwhile, the health insurance enrollment deadline is just days away. How is the administration handling that? Are they ready for what could or could not come of this?
Well, the number looks better than we thought, right? We're getting to 5 million. That's a lot of people. Not quite the number that they had hoped to have at this point. And here's one thing I think it'll be interesting to watch for, Peter. What happens after that March 31st deadline?
Right.
When the open enrollment period is no longer there? What do you do after that to try to make sure the program works, and make sure that the next round of enrollment, you end up with a choice of plans at an affordable rate? This is one of those things. It won't be done for a long time, right? The task of making this law work is going to continue, but we're clearly enter a new phase once that open enrollment period ends.
That's a good point. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that for sure. Susan Page, our guest, Washington Bureau Chief from USA Today. Follow her on Twitter at Susan Page. Susan, one of the things that Bill talked about before by the way, with all the talk of the cold weather, you know where Bill is?
Where?
He's in Hawaii.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is he doing some kind of investigation on behalf of the Bill Press Show?
I wish. I'm sure he'll try and sell it that way, but no. But before Bill went out of town, before he left, he talked a little bit about Robert Strauss, former Democratic Party chairman. Legendary guy that a lot of people this generation may not necessarily know about.
I knew Bob Strauss over a period of decades. He was such... he was a figure of a different era, I guess, because he was somebody who had relationships with people on both sides of the aisle. He served presidents from both parties. He was such a great character. He had such a wonderful personality, and I'll tell you something else. He was a total flirt. He died at 95 this week. I had lunch with him with my husband Carl Lubsdorff maybe 6 months ago, and he was still in a wheelchair. Not obviously showing some of the effects of age. Still flirting.
That's great to hear, and 95 years is certainly a good run. I had to admit that I was not as familiar with him, but when I heard of his passing, I read up on him, and it is a throwback to politicians and political figures who really were able to cultivate relationships with media and both sides of the political aisle that is really rare these days.
Yeah, and he was able to, when there was something tough going on, he was able to cut a deal, get something done, make compromise, all those things that are now become dirty words in Washington.
Right. All right. Safe home, Robert Strauss. Good stuff. Susan Page, thank you so much for joining us. Washington Bureau Chief for USA Today. We'll talk to her every Friday at this time. Do go follow her on Twitter at Susan Page and read her online at USA Today. Thank you, Susan.
Hey, thank you, Peter.
Talk to you next week. It is the Bill Press Show. Peter Ogburn in for Bill Press. Quick break, and we'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey friends, lots to talk about today, lots going on, and we'll get right back to the news of the day and our Bill Press Show this morning in just a second. But first, I want to take a little time out once again to ask for your help for all of us here at Free Speech TV. I don't have to tell you how much, I've told you before, how much we love being with you first thing in the morning, bring you the news of the day. We love the fact that you're with us, but we wouldn't be here without you, and we really do need your help. That's what makes the difference on Free Speech TV. We don't get any corporate money. We don't get any government funding. All of our, we don't get any commercial funding. All of our money, all of our revenue for Free Speech TV comes from you, our viewers. I know you appreciate Free Speech TV, otherwise you wouldn't be watching. You know that you get here totally unfettered, totally independent, just right, straight news of the day with good progressive commentary all day long from me and from Tom Hartman and Stephanie Miller and Amy Goodman, all of our good friends at Free Speech TV. Well, we wouldn't be here without you. It's just as simple as that. You've been very generous in the past. We're very excited that so many of you already this pledge drive have stepped up to the plate. We thank you for that, and if you haven't already done so, encourage you to make that big call today to 877-378-8669 and make your pledge. Be as generous as you can to Free Speech TV, just to keep this independent, the one single progressive television network on the air, and that is Free Speech TV. And encourage you to do so. Very, very excited to be able to offer you. If you could just give us $10, pledge $10 a month, that's $120 a year. You get a Bill Press Show mug and a pound of coffee from our favorite coffee shop downstairs here in our building. If you can up that to $20 a month and a pledge of $240, which we thank you, you'll love the cheese from Cowgirl Creamery. It comes from a part of Marin County where we live in California. I think it's the best cheese in the entire world. We'll send you a selection of Cowgirl Creamery. And for $360 or $30 a month, you get the Cowgirl Creamery, Cowgirl cheese selection, and the Bill Press mug. That's $30 a month or $360. And then, very, very special, and some of you have signed up for this already, if you can afford to help Free Speech with $1,000 and make your way to Washington, D.C., here's what. We will take you out to dinner at one of our favorite restaurants in Washington and invite you to come here the next morning in studio with us to see the show. That'll be a great deal of fun. Hope you'll take advantage of that. Again, the number to make your pledge is 877-378-8669. We depend on you. Please be as generous as you can. Thank you.
It is the Bill Press Show, Friday, March 21st. Peter Ogburn in for Bill Press today. So it was around this time yesterday that we had reports of something being found with regards to the Malaysian air disappearance. Because of the water conditions and the rough, choppy seas, and because of nighttime, they held off the search until overnight, our time, right? And the first plane that came back didn't find anything. They're not sure what it is, not sure if they found it. However, the Australian Prime Minister, Tony Abbott, had something to say, said, we're doing everything we can.
Could just be a container that's fallen off a ship. We just don't know. But we owe it to the families and the friends and the loved ones of the almost 240 people on flight MH370 to do everything we can to try to resolve what is as yet an extraordinary riddle.
Maybe the dingo ate your plane. That's messed up. By the way, CNN has been just CNNing it. I mean, they have been all about this plane.
Now everybody's trying to catch up. MSNBC's doing the same thing.
Everybody's trying to play catch up. And yesterday when you got the news that they may have found something, everybody sort of starts freaking out and figuring out how they're going to cover it. But then they realize, like, oh, yeah, well, there's still nothing. So what are we going to do? It is interesting. You know, they found some debris, and it's credible that it could be something. But, you know, it could be anything. Ships go through that general area. You know, a shipping container could have fallen overboard, something like that. It would fit the same description. All right, next hour, we've had a passing, and we're going to commemorate it as only we can here on the Bill Press Show. Plus, we're going to be joined by our old friend Jonathan Levy. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill. Quick break. We'll be back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen. petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Okay, friends and neighbors, we'll be back to the news of the day in just a moment here. But first, I've got one important question to ask all of you. Have you made your pledge yet to Free Speech TV? And if not, why the hell not? Come on, seriously. You know, we depend on you, we need you, and we count on you to keep us going here at Free Speech TV because you're all we've got. We don't get any corporate money, we don't get any government money, so all of us, you know, depend, Tom Hartman and Amy Goodman, all the rest depend, Stephanie Miller, depend on you to keep us going on Free Speech TV so we can continue the good work that we do, looking over the news every day, what's happening in Washington, what's happening around the country, what's happening around the globe, what are the important issues that we ought to talk about, particularly what are the progressive issues that we ought to be talking about and working on and fighting for. Figuring out the best guests that we can get in studio or on the phone that particular day to help us understand these issues. And then, of course, opening up the phones and opening up the social media lines so you can get involved in the conversation and express your comments and your opinion on what it all means to you and to your family. That's what we do every day. We can only do it with your help. So we ask you to dig in once again. Help keep us on the air here at Free Speech TV. If you can just do $10 a month, that's $120 a year. We'll send you a BP mug, a Bill Press Show mug, and a pound of coffee from our favorite coffee shop just downstairs in this building, Peregrine Coffee. For $20 a month, $240, you will get a very, very special gift indeed. One of the great cheeses from Cowgirl Creamery out on the West Coast, right near where we live in California, Point Reyes Station. And for $30 a month or $360 a year, if you can make that pledge, you'll get the mug and the Cowgirl Creamery. And then as a very, very special item to show you how much we appreciate your support, if you're in a position to pledge $1,000 to Free Speech TV, get yourself to Washington with a friend. Take the plane, take the train, take the bus, drive here, whatever. Carol and I will take you out to dinner the night before, and the next morning we'll invite you to join us in studio to meet the whole team here and to watch a special edition of the Bill Press Show. So with those incentives, hope that you will understand again and be inspired to do the right thing, particularly now at tax time, and take advantage of that this opportunity to get a little write-off on your taxes by helping Free Speech TV. So it's a twofer. You keep progressive television, Free Speech TV on the air, and you get the tax benefit as well. But again, no government money, no corporate money. Here at Free Speech TV, we depend on you. Thanks so much for your help.
In 1920s America, the Great Depression effectively erased consumer demand. Struggling manufacturers needed new ways to get people buying again. Innovative production processes like stamping and use of molds allowed them to use new materials for their designs. Products using vinyl, chrome, aluminium and plywood began appearing. American industrial designers began introducing streamlined, efficient shapes that shouted progress. Bel Geddes pioneered what we now refer to as utilitarian art. Things that had little reason to look sleek now all of a sudden did. At the 1939 World Fair featuring Bel Geddes' immensely popular Futurama exhibit, a new era of American industrial design proudly claimed to be building the world of tomorrow. Americans found great positivity in these futuristic forms. Yay. Things were looking up. American industrial designers realised that by making objects look great, people simply wanted them more. From cars to kitchen appliances, the most influential society on earth was spending money again. Mass consumption had arrived. Advertisers finally had lots to talk about. Personal taste could be expressed through the things you bought. Style became equally as important as function. Chair designers like Eames and Saarinen didn't just design seating, they created desirable lifestyles. People behind the products suddenly were stars. Everyone wanted to know who they were. Raymond Loewy was one of the shining lights of American industrial design. His face ended up on every coffee table in the nation. Toothpaste packaging promised whiter teeth. Washing powder packaging promised whiter whites. Who knew such simple household objects would shape the tastes and ambitions of an entire society? American industrial design improved America, functionally, culturally and intellectually, and exported it around the globe.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday, March 21st, 2014. It is The Bill Press Show, and clearly I am not Bill Press. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill today. Bill will be back after he's taking a little vacation. He's gone to, I'll say, it's a big state. He's in Hawaii. Ooh, poor guy.
I know.
Presidential compound?
Yeah, poor guy. Yeah, he's off investigating Obama's birth certificate. Still, that's his excuse anyway.
He's going to find the extra long form.
That's right. Well, that voice you hear is a blast from the past. Someone that as soon as I knew I was going to be filling in for Bill, I reached out to our good friend, Jonathan Levy, former producer here on the Bill Press Show, but now... No. He's moved up in the world. He is executive director of the General Majority PAC, an overall Democratic strategist, smart guy, smarter than me on all things politics. Jonathan Levy, good morning. Thank you for coming in.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's been a while since you've had me in, Peter. We did start the show together with Bill 9 years ago.
9 years ago.
9 years ago. We were such young pups at the time.
It's incredible, isn't
it? I used to do this quite frequently with you, and then something happened.
What are you doing?
TV cameras showed up.
Well, look.
All of a sudden, I was not filling in so much anymore. Or ever. I have to say, the place looks nice.
Yeah. Have you seen what we've done?
It looks fantastic.
Isn't this nice?
No, it's gorgeous. This is comfortable. There are wonderful people running around, helping me with things. It's talk about moving up in the world. This is a class act.
Someone went and got you coffee and water, and
I'm a little speechless
and all that,
and kind of unsettled.
Yeah, normally when we first started the show, literally we were in a dungeon. It was a literal dungeon. Yeah. Chains, skeletons in the corner. It was a dungeon. And look at our studios. It's so nice to have you here.
Well, I'm thrilled to be here. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. Yeah, Peter, you and I used to be in about a 4x5 box.
True.
Together. There was about 3 times as much of you back then.
I was a little heavier set, yes.
And there were some smells that happened.
There were some smells. You and I shared some smells.
Now I think there is a fan directly over where you sit just to take care of it. That's how classy this operation
The extractor? Yes.
The extractor.
Yeah, that's what we call it. That's what we call it. A very, very important piece of information for today's show that you should be following all of us on Twitter. At BP Show is the show handle, at BP Show. I'm tweeting at Peter Ogburn, but more importantly, you need to be following the man with my favorite name on Twitter, Wolf Levy.
That's me.
That's Jonathan Levy. Wolf Levy.
Jonathan Wolf Levy. I come to the name honestly.
I love it.
That is my middle name. And that is pretty much the reason I'm here, is to get more Twitter followers. I joined Twitter about 2 months ago, and I have been what one might call a miserable failure at it.
Let's see. You are now at 108 followers.
Yeah. Oh, I picked one up today.
Nice.
Because I keep a very close count.
Everybody right now, go follow Wolf Levy, Levy, at Wolf Levy. Follow Jonathan. A lot of good stuff there. Running the board is Elisa Murphy, as she does every day. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning. Happy Friday to you both.
Happy Friday. And screening the calls at 866-55-PRESS. If you call that number, you'll be lucky enough to speak to Alicia Cruz. And if you are watching us on Dish Network or DirecTV, Free Speech TV, or online at youtube.com/TawkrTV, you are doing so because of the good work of Cyprian Boulding, our videographer who keeps us on air. Well, Jonathan, it's a sad day yesterday. We had a passing.
Yes, I must have missed this.
Fred Phelps.
Oh, yes.
Fred Phelps.
Tragic.
Yeah, tragic, right? Yeah. He's no longer with us. You know him as the leader of the Westboro Baptist Church and the man who would picket the group that would picket funerals of American soldiers, because this is
soldiers, celebrities, anyone of note that they could get a photo op for their really compassionate message of God's love. Usually with signs that said something along the lines of "God hates fags," or X person is burning in hell because you pissed God off.
Yes, yeah, that's their big
classy group.
That's their big push. So we're
deeply rooted in the teachings of Jesus, I believe.
Yeah, I missed that part of the Bible.
Compassion and love.
I missed that part of the Bible. Well, we're going to talk about that with Washington Post contributor and author of Stephen Petrow's Complete Gay and Lesbian Manners, the author of that book and the author of a recent piece about the passing of Fred Phelps. Stephen Petrow is on the line. Stephen, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Good. You can follow Stephen on Twitter at Stephen Petrow, StevenPetrow. So for those listeners who may not know who Fred Phelps was, can you give us a little history of the man?
Absolutely. He was founder of the Westboro Baptist Church out of Topeka, Kansas. Church was founded early in the 20th century, but it's really not until the early 1990s when Reverend Phelps started this drive to picket funerals, and primarily because he saw this increasing tolerance of gay and lesbian rights in this country, and that he needed to show that this was wrong. And that kind of went on somewhat quietly for the first several years, but then it was when Matthew Shepard, the Larry, Wyoming young man, college, who was murdered for being gay, that Westboro came to Wyoming and picketed that funeral. And I think what was really galvanizing about that moment was the hatred was so strong that Americans really saw for the first time what hate looks like. And it was terrifying. And as Jonathan just said, they often or always held signs that says, God hates fags. At Matthew's funeral, it said Matt. They said Matt in hell. Fags are nature freaks. A lot of hate, and they've demonstrated in all 50 states, and they really would show up just about anywhere. They had a practice of showing up at military funerals because, again, they saw that this was a way to show Americans what a vengeful God acts like when LGBT rights are accepted. So, it's a real turning point with his passing.
So this could not have been timed better. In fact, as you were just talking, I have TweetDeck open. I'm watching Twitter. I just got a tweet that says, "I hope there was a giant protest at his funeral. That guy was just pure evil." And I know that is a knee-jerk reaction that a lot of people may have about a guy who was so evil and put so many families and friends of the deceased through pain and suffering by showing up at their funerals. Is that a good idea to picket and protest at his funeral?
Well, first of all, Westboro has announced that he will not be having a funeral, and that is probably a wise strategy.
I'm trying to figure out if that's ironic or poetic. I can't figure out which one that is, but that's pretty beautiful.
They say that they don't honor the dead, so I'm not sure about that. When word of his impending death first was announced by his son this past Sunday night, there was a lot of debate online about what is the appropriate reaction, because so many people had been scarred by this hate, firsthand or secondhand. I was I was at a convention of gay and lesbian journalists about 10 years ago, and God Hates Fags was right outside. I mean, it was a very visceral, visual experience. But in the end, I and many others have said no. His death is not a reason to celebrate, not a reason to go out and picket. You know, showing hate with hate has never resolved any problem, and it's a time for all of us to both to move on and I don't necessarily think to forgive, but to show love, if that's possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, I got an email this morning from a lieutenant colonel in Afghanistan, and I just want to read this one paragraph to you. If I were not deployed at the moment, and despite my more base instincts on the matter, I would love to be at his funeral in my dress uniform, holding a sign that says, "It was my honor to defend your First Amendment rights." I would hope that an act like that might, with other loving messages from the gay and lesbian community, convince the remainder of Phelps's flock the error of their ways. Michael J. Wish, First Lieutenant, United States
That's
Marine
beautiful.
Corps.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
It really moved me,
Yeah.
and I've seen a lot of people have some form of that sentiment, which is encouraging in this sort of time of incivility.
Yeah, I saw. I believe it was the Wichita Equality Group put out a similar statement about meeting this with love, and how protest would be just feeding into what Phelps, his ugly legacy. You'd mentioned, he rose to prominence nationally with the Matthew Shepard protest. There was something that protest was also met with something very beautiful there, and some love there. Isn't that right?
Well, after the fact, I think you're referring to what Matthew's mother has said about Reverend Phelps, and she said a couple of years ago when asked about him, "Oh, we love Freddie. If it wasn't for him, there would be no Matthew Shepard." And what I and many people take that to mean is, in a sense, that funeral protest really put Matthew Shepard's name on the map and showed Americans from coast to coast really what this hatred looked like, and in a sense it gave all of us in the LGBT community something really to fight against. It wasn't this amorphous feeling. It was a representation of what so many people, especially at that time, were thinking. And so he inadvertently turned out to be a very useful tool in helping the rest of us understand what the face of hate looks like. And Mrs. Shepard really nailed that, I thought.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember actually I was in middle school or early in high school when it happened, and I was a closeted gay youth, and I remember seeing the reaction to this kind of hatred and intolerance, and thinking there are people out there who support me and who will not stand for this, and you could feel a shift.
Absolutely. And I'm here in North Carolina, and when Elizabeth Edwards passed away a couple of years ago, Westboro Baptist was there. But those who were against them were more numerous. They shielded the family, and I'm sure this was a great comfort to many to see folks standing up against hate.
I just hope that in his final days, Fred Phelps was able to realize and understand that gay equality in this country we have come so far.
We've passed the tipping point.
We're over that hump of gay rights, I think, in this country. There's still a lot of work to be done, obviously, but I hope he saw that and realized that his life's work was futile. I hope that entered his thoughts in his dying moments.
I don't know about that, sir, but what I have heard is that in the last year or so, there's been a lot of discussion that he was excommunicated from Westboro Baptist because his feelings had become more moderated on this issue, and certainly his son Nathan Phelps, who broke with the church, has been a very outspoken advocate of equality, LGBT rights, and love overall. So, at least if you look to one of his children, we see that.
Good stuff. Really quick, let's get a plug in for the book, Stephen Petrow's Complete Gay and Lesbian Manners. What's that all about, Stephen?
It's It's a book that goes from A to Z on every kind of topic gays or straights might deal with each other. And it starts with how to come out, how to come out to parents and siblings, and it goes through dating and weddings. Same-sex weddings have become huge, and travel overseas. So it's a big fat book that nobody reads cover to cover, but it's said to be extremely useful.
Excellent.
I'm going to have to pick up a copy.
Yeah,
I could use some more manners.
Yeah,
here.
Jonathan could use your help. I guess is what I'm getting. That's my polite way of saying Jonathan could use your help.
Well, he did. I heard him when he came on. I think he was complaining right away about not having been on in a while. So yes, he does.
It's my default setting. What can I say?
Stephen Petrow, Washington.
I'm honored to be on once.
Well, we'll have you back for sure. Stephen Petrow, Washington Post contributor, and again, author of Stephen Petrow's Complete Gay and Lesbian Manners. You could follow him online, Stephen Petrow, StevenPetrow.com, and on Twitter at the same handle, Stephen Petrow. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you. Have a good day.
Talk to you again soon. Peter Ogburn sitting in for Bill. Brought along our good friend Jonathan Levy to help anchor the show for the rest of the program, the next hour and a half or so. Going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
All right, friends and neighbors, we'll get back to the news of the day in just a moment here. But first, I got a couple of questions for you. First one, are you enjoying Free Speech TV? Well, I know the answer to that one. If you weren't, you wouldn't keep watching. We appreciate that. Good to have you with us. And the second question is, since you enjoy Free Speech TV so much, have you done your share to keep us on the air? Have you made your pledge? If so, we thank you because so many of you have. But if not, let's get on it. Do it today. It is so important. Look, again, I don't have to tell you how special Free Speech TV is. I'm very, very proud to be part of it. Less than a year right now. But it's the only place you can find such great hosts, Tom Hartman, Stephanie Miller, Amy Goodman. I hope I'm one of them. And it's all content-free, no commercials, the only truly independent and progressive cable channel that is out there. You won't find it anywhere else. But the thing is, we depend on you. That's the only way we can stay on the air. We get no corporate money, no government money, no sponsor money, right? It is all from our viewers that keep us going. So we ask you to give us a call today, 877-378-8669, or you can go to freespeech.org and make your pledge. And as a little reward for making your pledge, if you can do us this $10 a month, $120, we'll send you a Bill Press Show mug. You can have your coffee with us every day, and a pound of coffee from Washington's favorite little coffee shop, which is right downstairs in our building. It's called Peregrine Coffee. If you can afford $20 a month, $240 pledge, you will get a very, very special treat from one of my favorite little businesses out in West Marin, California, West Marin County, from Cowgirl Creamery, a selection of their best cheeses. I think they're the best cheeses on the planet, and I've lived in Switzerland, so I know. Cowgirl Creamery for $240. For $360 or $30 a month, we'll send you the Cowgirl Creamery and a mug. And here's something very, very special. If you can do it and you can afford $1,000 for Free Speech TV, then make your way to Washington as a little special treat. I'll take you out to dinner with Carol, and we'll invite you and a guest in to watch the show the next morning here in our studio in downtown Washington, D.C. So those are just our ways of saying thank you ahead of time to you. Please do it. Please consider it today. And again, the number to call is 877-378-8669, or you can go to freespeech.org. We love bringing the show to you every morning, love being with you every day, and ask you to be with us by making your pledge as soon as you can and as generously as you can. Thank you so much.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show, Friday, March 21st. Are you complaining about the TVs? We have 3 TVs in here. One on MSNBC, one on CNN, and one's usually on Fox. But the cable box that has Fox is broken.
I was remembering the last time I was here, that TV was also out, so I thought it's been about 2 years since you fixed it.
I swear it's been working up until like 2 days ago.
Also, that's more informative than Fox.
Just a blank screen. Jonathan Levy is with us. My name is Peter Ogburn. We're hosting the Bill Press Show together today. A lot of good, fun stuff coming up in the next hour and a half or so. Full disclosure, I have known Jonathan for a long time. I know and I enjoy and
Easy.
I work with your mother.
Easy.
I'm being very polite. I love your mother.
I love my mother,
Your
too.
mother and I are like best friends. I talk to your mother more than I talk to you.
I'm worried that you talk to my mother more than I talk to my mother.
Your mother is Bonnie Wolf. She is the creative genius behind AmericanFoodRoots.com, which I contribute to. She also works with NPR. She's a food writer and a food host. Writer. Very, very smart.
Wonderful.
Taught me so much.
Me too.
So she sends this email this morning that just says, "Excellent show this morning." So I look at it and I go, "Oh, did you see this email from your mom?" She sent us an email.
No, she did not send us an email, actually. She sent you an email. She's really impressed with the work you're doing on the show.
She sent me an email.
I have nothing from her.
It's so funny.
Yes, funny. That's the word for it. I love my mother, and she knows that I know she loves me. You're the one who needs the extra support, I guess.
She's going. Well, look. She's given you so much support over the years.
She
that now
and
I
my
need
father have molded me into the half man I am today.
Half man, half man. I'm sorry. I wouldn't have said anything had I realized that she had only sent it to me. I would have just let it slide, not said anything.
I think that would have been weirder.
Yeah. Just writing her back, having a whole conversation about you while you're in the studio with me.
Yeah. I love you, Mom.
Maybe she'll send you an email now.
Oh, I can assure you I'm getting an email now.
I think we're both going to get an email after this. I think we're both going to get an email after this. All right. So I mentioned Jonathan is on Twitter. We are on a crusade to get Jonathan several new Twitter followers at Wolf Levy on Twitter, at Wolf Levy. Follow him there. In the next segment, we're going to be talking to Lauren Fox, political reporter from U.S. News and World Report. A great news story about the rise of Edwin Edwards. Everything that's new is old that was... You fool me, can't get fooled again. We're going to be talking to her about criminals who have run for office, including Edwin Edwards. It's the Bill Press Show. Peter Ogburn in for Bill. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey friends, we'll be back to the news and your commentary and your comments in just a moment. But first, let me just be very, very straight with you. We need your help. You know what Free Speech TV is all about? We're very, very lucky and very proud to be part of it. But it's the only place that you can find completely independent, unfettered, no restrictions, news and commentary from the left all day long, with no corporate money, no commercials, no government money. But without all of that, we depend on you. And we ask for your help and need your help this time of the year. By the way, it's a good time to make a contribution because you can take it off on your taxes. Don't forget that. We know you love free speech. If you didn't, you wouldn't be watching. But again, we can only stay on the air. The only source of funding we have is your help. So many of you have helped already. We thank you for that. And for those of you who haven't yet, you intend to do so, you just didn't get around to it, do it today. Call that number, 877-378-8669, 877-378-8669, or go to freespeech.org, freespeech.org, and make whatever pledge you can. Now, I hope you do it out of the goodness of your heart, but maybe just as a little extra incentive, we'll offer you a couple of special premiums. If you can pledge just $10 a month, $120 a year, we'll give you a Bill Press Show mug and a pound of coffee from our favorite coffee shop, Peregrine, right down on the street level in this building. For $20 a month, $240 a year, very, very special. The best cheese in the world, take it from me. Made out in Point Reyes Station, California, from Cowgirl Creamery. They're wonderful, wonderful people. Send you a Cowgirl Creamery a special item. And for $360 a year or $30 a month, you'll get the mug and the Cowgirl Creamery. Now, here's something very, very special. Those of you who can make a very special pledge of $1,000 to Free Speech TV, you get your way to Washington. We've got a deal for you. Carol and I will take you and a guest out to dinner and then invite you here into the studio the next morning to watch the show with all of us. So whatever pushes your button, please be as generous as you can. And again, do it today at that number, 877-378-8669. Take advantage of that tax opportunity to get your tax contribution. And most importantly, to show your support and show your help for Free Speech TV. We are there with you and for you every single day of the week. We need you to be there for us this one special time of the year. Thanks for your help.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show, 33 minutes past the hour on this Friday, March 21st. Bill is out. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting here with Jonathan Levy, the executive director of the General Majority PAC, and former producer here on The Bill Press Show, and a dear, dear friend of mine. Jonathan, thank you for coming in.
It is an absolute pleasure, Peter. If there is one face I want to see early in the morning, it's yours.
It's this one.
It's right there.
Sugar Pie Ogburn, right here.
If you have access to Free Speech TV, make sure you're watching this right now, because seeing Peter is a delight.
What are you, the best?
Something like that.
We've been talking this week about Edwin Edwards, ex-Louisiana governor. He is running for Congress. He is not that far out of his time he spent in prison, but that's not going to stop him from running for office. Wanted to talk to Lauren Fox, a political reporter from U.S. News and World Report, about not only Edwin Edwards, but other convicts who have made a run for office. Lauren Fox joins us on the phone right now. Lauren, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much. You can follow her on Twitter at Fox Reports and online at US News So, first of all, for people who aren't familiar with Edwin Edwards, can you tell us a little bit about him and his history and why he's such a controversial figure?
Certainly. So Edwin Edwards, as we know, he's running for Congress after a stint in prison, and he's a controversial figure, certainly, with a lot of people in Louisiana. But that's certainly not going to stop him from running again for Congress. So I think that that's kind of one of the most notable things here is that, this is a guy who served 3 terms in Congress before running for governor. He served 2 terms in the State House in the 1970s, and then after a 4-year break, he was elected again in 1983, and he had been acquitted for federal corruption charges, but his image was still badly tainted. And then he got in trouble, obviously, again, and landed in prison. So I think this is someone who has a long history of corruption, but is certainly going to give it a go for the U.S. Congress.
To be fair, this is Louisiana, where corruption is, I would say, it has a history of running rampant.
And he's certainly not the first from Louisiana.
Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so Representative William Jefferson was in Congress, and
dollar bill.
Yes, and in May of 2006, the FBI raided his congressional office and disclosed that the year before they'd found $90,000 in his freezer, wrapped in different packages in his freezer.
That's where I keep my money.
Was found, yeah. Some of it was found in a pie container, so it was found in some different places. And anyway, he ended up not stepping down when the FBI announced their raid and the $90,000 fine. He didn't lose election until 2008 after a federal grand jury indicted him on 16 counts of corruption.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in D.C., so I have a history with folks going to doing some illegal stuff and then getting reelected. So I know how it feels. I know the allure.
And it certainly doesn't stop folks. I think that that's kind of the interesting moment here. I mean, some people get out of jail and then run again. That was the case with Representative James Traficant. He's from Ohio. He's a Democrat. He actually ran his first race against his competitor from jail and won 15% of the vote. So,
God bless America.
Yeah, so it certainly is something that happens, and it's something that no folks that have run from jail have won, but they certainly can collect part of the vote.
Lauren Fox, political reporter from U.S. News and World Report, is on the line with us. Follow her on Twitter @FoxReport. So your piece, Edwin Edwards, isn't the first to seek Congress after crime, is up on usnews.com. We'll tweet out that link here in just a moment. But tell us about a few other high-profile people who ran for office after running into trouble.
Yeah, so I think one of the most notable is former Representative Mel Reynolds. He's a Democrat from Illinois. He used to hold Jesse Jackson Jr.'s seat there in Chicago, and he
that seat is kind of doomed, huh?
Yes, no, it certainly is. But his congressional career was brief in 1994, just a few months after his first run for re-election. He was accused of engaging in a sexual relationship with an underage woman. And the scandal certainly overshadowed his race, but he denied charges. He just kept on running, and he ran unopposed, won his election that year. The year after, he was convicted of a crime and sexual assault and the solicitation of child pornography, so he was forced to resign from the House, and he served 7 years in prison. But when he got out, he had his sentence, part of it, commuted by President Bill Clinton. When he got out, he made a political comeback, and he was going to run again on the south side of Chicago against Representative Jesse Jackson Jr., who he said, wasn't there enough, was invisible in the district. And he said, before I got convicted, I was doing an outstanding job. He did lose, but he tried it one more time when, in the special election, when Jesse Jackson himself was embroiled in his own kind of scandal. So he tried it twice after prison.
Let's talk about some Republicans who maybe have done this as well, because they have a rich history. I think the state of Ohio has produced a few of them, as not just Traficant.
Yes. So, Representative Donald Lukens, I should note that getting in trouble with the law and going to prison as a member of Congress is a bipartisan activity. Both parties have had members who've experienced it. But he got in trouble for the delinquency of a minor, and he was accused of paying a young woman for sex. He refused to step down from Congress after his conviction. He ran in the Republican primary and actually lost to now House Speaker John Boehner. But this was another example of someone who, kept running even after they were convicted of a major crime. So
it does. What does this speak to, I wonder? I mean, is it just like the ego of these politicians that get into this game in the first place that drive them to do this? Where does this come from?
Yeah, I think certainly there is a part of anyone who wants to run for an office must think highly enough of themselves to put themselves out there. And I think that's part of it. I think the other piece of it is there's maybe a denial or a feeling that maybe rules don't apply to some of these folks. But I think to be convicted of a crime and then to go out and run is certainly more aggressive than just running for Congress. It certainly is a different maybe type of politician.
And there's also a culture that seems to exist in certain areas. I mean, obviously corruption can happen anywhere, but we hear it pop up more often in places like Louisiana, places like Chicago.
Certainly, I think that when there's a history or a culture or a tolerance for those kinds of transgressions, they might continue to go on for years and years and generations of politicians. I think it kind of depends on how you get involved in politics and what you see happen ahead of you and what you see folks get away with. It might make you more apt to try something than if you're working in an environment where people are all rule followers.
All right, Lauren Fox, political reporter from U.S. News and World Report. Follow her on Twitter at Fox Reports and online at usnews.com. Thank you so much for joining us, Lauren.
Thank you for your time. Have a great day.
You got it. Talk to you again soon. It is the Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill today, along with Jonathan Levy, Democratic strategist and executive director of the General Majority PAC. You can follow him on Twitter at Wolf Levy. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, friends, just a little break here and time out to tell you about something very, very important. It's that time again when we turn to you and ask for your help because we wouldn't be here without you. You know, it's so funny. Everywhere I go, people always say, man, you got 3 hours to fill every morning. How do you do it? How do you keep up with all of it? You know, well, let me tell you, we work hard at it. I mean, we start at the end of every show. The first thing we do, we just sit right down and start planning the next day's show and get a rough outline kind of where we want to go and what guests we might want to have and what we think the big issues are going to be. And then we go out and all day long, you know, we're watching the news, reading the news, looking at the websites, following everything. I'm down at the White House every day at the briefings and keeping on top of things down there. And then we, meantime, Peter and Elisa particularly are on the phone, booking our guests for the next day. We reconvene in a conference call at 5 o'clock every afternoon and find out what guests we've got and where we think we're going to go the next day in terms of issues and things we want to talk about. We're also watching that evening, and then the next morning before every show, we reconvene again and sit down and say and put it finally together. And then we're on the air. So, you know, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but we love doing it, and we couldn't do it without you. That's the important thing, because Free Speech TV, no corporate money, no government money. It is all viewer contributions. We work only for you and depend on you and ask you to help us once again as generously as you can. And there's a little incentive to do so. You can go to freespeech.org, make your contribution, freespeech.org. If you can give us $120, that's $10 a month. We will send you a mug, a Bill Press mug, and a pound of coffee from Peregrine Coffee, our favorite coffee shop downstairs in this building. For $240 or $20 a month, from Cowgirl Creamery, the best cheese in the world. Believe me, made in California, close to our home in California. A special package from Cowgirl Creamery. For $360 or $30 a month, you'll get the Cowgirl Creamery selection and a Bill Press mug as well. And a very special treat for those who are able to do so and willing to pledge $1,000 of Free Speech TV. You make your way to Washington anytime with a guest. I will take you and your guest out to dinner, some fabulous restaurant in Washington, and invite you in to watch the show the next morning. So I know you're part of the free speech community, or else you wouldn't be watching this morning. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your help in the past, and now please ask you to dig in again. You know how important it is. I know how much you depend on the independent expression of progressive opinion you only get on Free Speech TV. Now's the time to help again, and thank you.
Is the Bill Press Show. It is the Bill Press Show, live on this Friday, March 21st. My name is Peter Ogburn, tweeting at Peter Ogburn on Twitter. I'm joined for almost the entire show by Jonathan Levy, Executive Director of the General Majority PAC, good friend of mine, friend of the show. You can follow him on Twitter at Wolf Levy. Now, I've mentioned Twitter several times today. Yesterday,
because you're young and hip.
Yeah.
That's what the kids talk about.
Yes, exactly.
They're tweeting all the time.
All these tweets and the whatnots.
The Snapchats.
I
sent you a few Snapchats during the show.
Did you?
No, I don't know how to Snapchat.
I don't know how to Snapchat. I don't know.
It's because we're both over the age of 30. Peter.
That's right. No, you know what's funny? There was Nine Inch Nails is playing.
I remember them.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So I go up and I was like, I was going to go buy some tickets to go see Nine Inch Nails. So I said, I went to the box office and said, we get 2 tickets tonight. I said, sorry, sir, we can't sell you those. And I said, really? And they said, no. I said, you sold out? They go, no, you're in your mid-30s. You can't go see Nine Inch Nails anymore. You can't go do that. Yesterday on Twitter, Twitter rolled out this new cool little thing. It's discover.twitter.com, and you can look up anyone's first tweet. You can look up the first tweet that anybody ever tweeted. So I'm going to go around the room, and I'm going to bring up everybody's first tweet, and you're going to have to defend your tweet. I'm starting off with Elisa Murphy.
Oh, no, I have no idea.
All right. Defend your tweet.
What is it?
December 28th, 2008.
Ooh, yeah, I was actually talking to Twitter when they first broke out.
That's impressive. I'm about to pass out, ... long day, ... busy week approaching, ... I'm working on a production deal, ...
Ooh.
Yep. That was DMC and Grandmaster Flash.
You can follow Elisa Murphy, by the way, at Elisa Murphy. It's spelled Alyssa Murphy, Alyssa, to see her first tweet. All right.
I like the use of ellipses there. I'm a big fan of it. It gives drama.
Strong ellipses.
That's what I call the patented pause.
Oh, look at that.
Alliteration.
Alicia Cruz is our call screener. If you call 866-55-PRESS, you'll get Alicia Cruz. Alicia, March 22nd. Whoa! It's almost your 4-year Twitter. Tomorrow you will have been on Twitter for exactly 4 years. Twitterversary. March 22nd, 2010. Alicia Cruz on Twitter at TweetACruz, CRUZ, just says, okay, I'm tweeting.
Very to the point.
9:03.
Succinct.
This is so like it's 9:03 p.m. March 22nd, 2010.
Interesting choice at 9:03 in the evening.
Cyprian Bolding, our videographer. I can hear Cyprian go, "Oh no."
Be nice. He's wearing a Skins jersey today, so
I know.
He's getting a lot.
He knows pain.
Love.
He knows pain.
Exactly.
You can follow Cyprian, and I suggest you follow all these fine people. CYPAVS, Cyprian Bolding, CYPAVS. 12:21 p.m. March 28th, 2011. Almost, it's you're 1 week out from your Twitterversary, Sip. Just says hello Twitterland. Hello Twitterland.
Did they say hello back?
about 185 people have, yes.
Yes, okay, so there.
Still better than me.
I looked mine up, by the way. It doesn't have mine.
No way.
It's
been redacted.
I've put plenty of embarrassing stuff on Twitter.
Apparently your first one was the worst.
It says, can't find that first tweet. Either that username doesn't exist or it's protected. I exist and I'm not protected. So I don't know what's up with that.
Or you're just not sharing with the rest of us because you're the one controlling
You
this.
can look it up. I swear, because I'm curious to know what it was. I'm sure it was something silly.
Yeah, we checked over here. We can't get in.
See? Look, I'd be happy. I'd be the first one to share.
I appreciate the team here, though, does not trust you and is checking your work.
Clearly, I'm not to be trusted.
It must be because you're such a big celebrity on Twitter. They have you protected.
Yeah,
somehow.
that must be it. Why can't I pull yours up? I just had yours up, Jonathan.
Is the app broken now?
We might have
My
broken
first tweet was like a month or 2 months ago.
Yeah,
I'm new to Twitter.
You haven't been on Twitter for very long.
Well, I've been.
Oh, here it is. At Wolf Levy, Jonathan Levy. God, you are such a nerd.
Oh, we have it here.
You're
too.
such a nerd.
On point, my friend.
Everyone's like, hey, Twitter, I'm tweeting. Jonathan, hashtag Christie's lonely landslide. What does this even mean?
I spent so long crafting this. Read it properly.
Hang on. I'm giving this. Defend your tweet. You read that to me.
See if I can read.
You defend your tweet.
Hashtag Christie's lonely landslide continued. First huge New Jersey election day win without down ballot success. Now he's top GOPer for POTUS, but no one has his back.
You are such a dork.
Heck yeah, I am.
I love it.
It's called being on message, my friend. No, I joined Twitter just 2 months ago, or I joined a while ago, but I tweeted for the first time just 2 months ago, because I have a pretty strong conviction that Twitter has been created with the express purpose of destroying people's careers.
Pretty much.
And you know me pretty well, Peter.
I do.
I when uninhibited or without a stopgap measure, sometimes can say something that might get me in a little bit of trouble.
Yes.
So Twitter scares me for that reason.
I have a hard rule in my life. When I have drink number 3, I delete the Twitter app from my phone. I delete it from my phone.
That's what I watched you do. We went to the Bob Dylan Wilco concert.
That's right.
A few months ago.
That's right.
And there came a certain point in the night where Peter just pulled the phone out of his pocket and said, "I'm going to delete a few things quickly."
It's true.
For
I
the
just delete
safety of
the app
all.
altogether. Yeah. I delete the app altogether. I cannot be trusted.
I was thrilled when you did. You started paying me a lot more attention.
By the way, at BP Show, the show Twitter account, which I suggest you follow that as well, at BP Show. First tweet, I don't know where this came from, just says, from July 14th, 2009, watching the Sonia Sotomayor hearings.
Was that Bill, I wonder?
I think it might have been.
Yeah.
Because I don't think, the account... Pull the curtain back just a little bit. The account is run by me and by Bill. Bill tweets a lot of stuff from the White House and some analysis.
And you don't know who Sonia Sotomayor is.
Yeah, no, I have no clue. So I know I didn't tweet that. But yeah, July 14th, 2009. So there you go. A little peek back, a little walk through history of the Bill Press Show and everybody here. So there you go. It's discover.twitter.com is the website you can go to. You can check out anybody's first tweet, except for mine, apparently.
Something's hidden there. We're going to get to the bottom
That's too bad.
of
I
this.
know. We have to look for that.
If you guys could find it, I'd be happy to share. I have nothing to hide.
I have a quick update on my mother, by the way, here.
Oh, yes. Your mother who showered me with love over the great job I'm doing.
And did not email me. Has since the public shaming that I put my mother through, like a good son, has sent me an email telling me that I'm doing a great job.
Yes.
She loves me also, and that I look very handsome.
Oh, see there?
That
gold
is
star.
a wonderful woman.
See there? That's sweet.
Thank you, Mom. I love you.
Thanks, Bonnie Wolf. Oh, let me see. What did she tweet first? Bonnie Wolf. Oh, Peter Ogbur's doing a great job on the Bill Press Show. That was back in 2011. Isn't that sweet? I'm kidding. All right, it's the Bill Press Show. Peter Ogburn and Jonathan Levy sitting in for Bill Press. Quick break. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Tune into Free Speech TV for Democracy Now!, a national, independent, award-winning news program bringing you people and perspectives rarely seen on corporate media.
Hey friends, just a little break here and time out to tell you about something very, very important. It's that time again when we turn to you and ask for your help because we wouldn't be here without you. You know, it's so funny. Everywhere I go, people always say, man, you got 3 hours to fill every morning. How do you do it? How do you keep up with all of it? You know, well, let me tell you, we work hard at it. I mean, we start at the end of every show. The first thing we do, we just sit right down and start planning the next day's show and get a rough outline kind of where we want to go and what guests we might want to have and what we think the big issues are going to be. And then we go out and all day long, you know, we're watching the news, reading the news, looking at the websites, following everything. I'm down at the White House every day at the briefings and keeping on top of things down there. And then we, meantime, Peter and Elisa particularly are on the phone, booking our guests for the next day. We reconvene in a conference call at 5 o'clock every afternoon and find out what guests we've got and where we think we're going to go the next day in terms of issues and things we want to talk about. We're also watching that evening, and then the next morning before every show, we reconvene again and sit down and say and put it finally together. And then we're on the air. So, you know, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but we love doing it, and we couldn't do it without you. That's the important thing, because Free Speech TV, no corporate money, no government money. It is all viewer contributions. We work only for you and depend on you and ask you to help us once again as generously as you can. And there's a little incentive to do so. You can go to freespeech.org, make your contribution, freespeech.org. If you can give us $120, that's $10 a month. We will send you a mug, a Bill Press mug, and a pound of coffee from Peregrine Coffee, our favorite coffee shop downstairs in this building, for $240 or $20 a month. From Cowgirl Creamery, the best cheese in the world, believe me, made in California, close to our home in California. A special package from Cowgirl Creamery. For $360 or $30 a month, you'll get the Cowgirl Creamery selection and a Bill Press mug as well. And a very special treat for those of you able to do so and willing to pledge $1,000 of Free Speech TV. You make your way to Washington anytime with a guest. I will take you and your guest out to dinner, some fabulous restaurant in Washington, and invite you in to watch the show the next morning. So
this is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show. Peter Ogman in for Bill Press. About a minute here in this segment where we're going to take a look at what the president has going on. Pretty quiet day today. About 10 o'clock, 10:30, the president receives the presidential daily briefing in the Oval Office, and then it's quiet time until 4:05 p.m.
Quiet time?
Well, yeah.
Like nap time?
Yeah.
It's just going to take the dogs out for a walk?
Dude, if I was the president, if I got a 6-hour gap, yeah, I'm napping. I'm napping. 4:05, this is from the White House. The president meets with internet CEOs. Okay.
Sounds like a very 90s thing to have on your schedule.
Like, I figure everyone's going to come walking in like Reebok pumps and Zubaz. like angular glasses.
Zubaz?
You know about Zubaz?
No.
Oh, the striped zebra baggy pants? Very 90s. Very 90s.
You're older than me, Peter. Don't forget.
We'll be back one more after the Bill Press Show after this.
This is the Bill Press Show.
I'm a Piston fan. Their slogan was, "We come to work." That's what Detroit about. That's why they used it. It's a team thing. They won 2 championships, a team. There was no star. No mayor can come in here and be a star. It's a team thing. No governors can come in here and think you can do it by yourself. It's a team thing. You got communities. They got ideas too. The only thing wrong with Detroit, people have lost hope here. Residents, city workers, so much corruption. They lose hope. But I grew up here. I love this city. I think it can come back. I've been working for the city 24 and a half years. Within the last 10 years, we took 4 pay cuts and then an additional 10% wage cut. I've lost a home.
When you take all of the decisions out of the city of Detroit, all of us, then what do you have? Exactly what we got. A lot of problems. Every time the city seems to fall into a problem, it's always on the backs of us workers.
You wake up out of a dead sleep and you jump behind the wheel and take off driving and try to get everybody there safe, not knowing really what you're pulling up to. Not eligible for Social Security, so the pension is my sole salary at this point.
We've been in business here 39 years. We've seen a lot of changes in Detroit. The area was a lot of industry, a lot of city workers. It's getting very tough for the city workers. It's getting tough for us as a business people.
Response times are increasing because of the closing of companies, which takes your insurance rate through the roof. So all the things that affect us affect the citizens.
I worked for the city in different capacities for 29 years. I feel like an old jacket. They use me up and they throw me away. In my condition, nobody's gonna hire me. I'm 68 years old. Half the times, I can't get my blood pressure medicine. It's either feeding myself blood pressure or paying bills.
754. By the time they take all the deductions for I have my car insurance, my house insurance, and my health insurance taken out. So the time they take all that, I'll get about $300 after they take all that out. I don't understand it. I can't see how the governor is allowing this to happen and what they're doing and they want to blame it all on the seniors. Not only the seniors, but the city workers. And we worked hard. I know I worked hard.
I've been in Detroit since 1946. I was 14 years old when I came in. I don't live large at all. I wish I could. I haven't opened the last time I've been shopping. I only get $1,100 and I'm 81 years old and I need every penny that I can get and that I do get. And I'm very, very upset about the idea of them taking away my pensions that I worked 30 years for.
I think it's terrible that they talk about Detroit like they do, because Detroit has been very good to me.
I have a lot of city workers coming in with their uniforms on, Detroit Water Department, Police Department, Fire Department. I get a lot of people, the Border Patrol come in. So if I lose that customer base, I'm going to be in a position where I might have to close down. If they take away their pensions, if they start cutting jobs, it's going to cut into a large percentage of not only our business, but other businesses that are in the city of Detroit. We're here. We've been here for 26 years. We're still trying to do business in the city.
Detroiters are survivors. They tough. They adapt. But only can do so much when your politicians ahead of you and we're not on the same team. We're not going to let Detroit be erased, bulldozed, or whatever. We're going to fight to the bitter end. Detroit going to survive.
In 1920s America, the Great Depression effectively erased consumer demand. Struggling manufacturers needed new ways to get people buying again. Innovative production processes like stamping and use of molds allowed them to use new materials for their designs. Products using vinyl, chrome, aluminium and plywood began appearing. American industrial designers began introducing streamlined, efficient shapes that shouted progress. Bel Geddes pioneered what we now refer to as utilitarian art. Things that had little reason to look sleek, now all of a sudden did. At the 1939 World Fair featuring Bel Geddes' immensely popular Futurama exhibit, a new era of American industrial design proudly claimed to be building the world of tomorrow. Americans found great positivity in these futuristic forms. Yay. Things were looking up. American industrial designers realised that by making objects look great, people simply wanted them more. From cars to kitchen appliances, the most influential society on earth was spending money again. Mass consumption had arrived. Advertisers finally had lots to talk about. Personal taste could be expressed through the things you bought. Style became equally as important as function. Chair designers like Eames and Saarinen didn't just design seating, they created desirable lifestyles. People behind the product suddenly were stars. Everyone wanted to know who they were. Raymond Loewy was one of the shining lights of American industrial design. His face ended up on every coffee table in the nation. Toothpaste packaging promised whiter teeth. Washing powder packaging promised whiter whites. Who knew such simple household objects would shape the tastes and ambitions of an entire society? American industrial design improved America, functionally, culturally and intellectually, and exported it around the globe.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show, 6 minutes past the hour. Clearly, I am not Bill Press. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill today, Friday, March 21st. Bill's taking a little time off, so I am here to guide you through the news of the day, but I cannot do it alone, so I have brought in the executive director of the General Majority PAC, Jonathan Levy. Man,
the fact that you cannot say my job title without laughing.
Well, no, in case you missed, Jonathan and I, we were the original producers of the Bill Press Show.
9 years ago.
9 years ago.
9 years ago.
Seriously.
And look how far you've come.
Yes, I've moved on.
I haven't gone anywhere. I've been here the whole damn time.
You've moved to a much nicer studio.
True.
You've had a second child.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Yes, that one.
I remember the studio that I have. But, you know, when we first started the show, it was a tiny, tiny, tiny space. And Jonathan and I were cooped up in there together for long hours with terrible air conditioning.
Just the worst.
The two of us have shared some smells.
Yes, we have. Well, it was a tiny room, and there was a giant tower of electronics.
Yeah.
That put off a huge amount of heat.
Yeah.
There was a lot more Peter Ogburn than there is now.
That's true.
Peter has become a fitness fanatic,
Clearly.
doing like Ironmans and Tough Mudders and 2.5 marathons.
I'm a health nut.
Yeah. Are we getting those tacos, Peter? Those breakfast tacos?
I heard something about tacos on the way in.
Bring me some tacos.
I was promised tacos on
yeah,
the way in.
it was a tight, confined space. I've always been about this size, bouncing back and forth depending on the amount of heat that was in that room that I could, so I could sweat off some weight. And so there were some early morning smells.
Yeah.
Charming gentlemen.
Good morning, everyone.
Absolutely charming.
Try to keep this show as classy as possible without Bill here.
Does Bill know what's going on with that?
Oh, God, no. No, hell no. Hell no. Joining us to kick off the hour is Dylan Byers, media reporter for Politico. Follow him on Twitter at Dylan Byers and online at Politico.com. Running the board is Elisa Murphy. Screening your calls is Alicia Cruz. And our videographer is Cyprian Bolding. Okay, so Dylan, before we get going on anything, I've gone around everybody today and everybody who's been on the show. Yesterday on Twitter, there was this big first tweet. Twitter rolled out this thing where you can find and look up anybody's first tweet. So I'm making everybody defend their first tweet.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm looking at Dylan's first tweet, 12:42 p.m., January 9th, 2011.
Yeah.
And it just says...
this tone in his voice right now and the look on his
could
face.
not be more pissed right now.
No, actually, it's so harmless, though.
It is harmless. It's just a...
It's sort of hard to explain.
It's a hyperlink that goes to...
But it's not actually... Like, you can't actually click it.
No, you can't.
It's actually just a URL, right?
Yeah, it's just a URL.
There's no link on it.
It's just a URL.
You have to like copy and paste it, which shows you how illiterate I was at the time when it came to Twitter.
HTTP, the whole thing, travelfilmarchive.com.
Yeah.
Defend your tweet.
So there was Okay, so at that point, I did not understand Twitter as a tool for my career as a reporter. I just understood it as another social media site at which to share things. It's actually, have you gone there?
I did briefly this morning.
Great research, Peter.
I did briefly this morning. I got some footage of a plane taking off, but I didn't dig into it.
It's just like all of these really old films from around the world, from like people like traveling through mountains, from people on beaches. It's actually
that's cool.
Yeah, it's like archival
really
footage.
cool.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
that's a good tweet.
Yeah, you should have seen my second tweet.
Yeah, Twitter really is. If they want to really elevate the game, like let's see that next tweet after, because most of everybody was like, "Hello, Twitter," or "Hi, Twitterland," or "Guess I'm going to tweet now."
I think the tweet that Twitter needs to put out there for everyone is the tweet when people were like really frustrated with how few followers they had, so they decided they were going to do something really controversial to sort of like gin up a lot of followers. That would be like the really juicy tweet.
Like Jonathan.
Like
the
me.
.xxx tweet.
Well, yeah, right. Dylan is, he was just figuring it out in his first tweet, but he is now a Twitter master.
Yeah, without a doubt.
He's got, what, 29,000 followers
Black
on
belt.
And I go, Dylan, in full disclosure, because this is a show with strict journalistic ethics, full disclosure here, Dylan's a good friend of mine.
Normally it is.
So I go to Dylan actually with a lot of my Twitter questions.
Oh, okay.
Much to his chagrin, because he's actually a busy journalist
who
doesn't have time to deal with
loves that.
Yes. Well, Dylan is he's probably my closest friend who is a journalist. So I spend a great deal of my day harassing Dylan about what he writes about the news in general, and he is incredibly gracious about it. He sometimes tells me that I need to leave him alone and do my job.
You're underselling yourself. Your observations are very smart.
I
agree with that.
Oh, I agree with that too. I'm a genius.
I agree with that.
He has a black belt in genius.
Yes, exactly. You're very smart. You're very wise. But God, that's annoying.
Yeah, exactly. Well, welcome to the story of my life.
By the way, Dylan, have you got an email from Jonathan's mother yet this morning? Earlier today, we're hosting the show. Jonathan's mother sends me an email to tell me what a great job I'm doing.
If I haven't gotten one yet, I'm going to get one.
Yeah, no, you'll get one.
I'm going to keep my phone out.
She's watching
just for when that happens.
Apparently, this is you've programmed the show today, Peter, so it's all about my mom.
Yeah.
Dylan actually lived in my parents' basement for a couple of months.
Is she making the tacos that you guys are getting?
Oh, that would be great.
That would be awesome.
I would.
Hey, Bonnie,
Bonnie, you're not far away. You could really use some breakfast.
I have an email from your mom, John.
Do you really?
Today we have an audience of one.
Glad you're there to lend gravitas to the show. Bonnie, I love you.
That is amazing. Oh, God. Okay, all right. So let's talk about some news of the day.
Let's talk important world out there.
Some news of the day. So it was around this time yesterday, we were reporting that Australia had found some signs that there was some debris that pointed to the plane crash. So CNN has been going wall-to-wall coverage on this plane crash. I think it's been a little much because there hasn't, up until yesterday, I don't think that there was a ton of news to really report.
Right.
Am I wrong?
No. There's not. And what they're doing is they're filling a lot of this time with sort of theories about what might happen. And so there's this early onslaught of criticism that says, wait a second, your duty as a news channel, you're not supposed to be like filling the air with more and more unknowns. You're supposed to be accounting for what we do know. There have been defenses, which I actually think are quite reasonable, which are, look, when there's a plane, it's the 21st century, and a plane just completely disappeared and we can't find it. That's sort of a big story, right?
No, absolutely.
I mean, it's sort of like a Titanic level story in a way. So, we're all smart people. We can take what the news throws at us. Let's like deal with it. And if you want it, you can dig into it and you can watch more and more and more of it. And if you don't, you can go somewhere else and see coverage about Ukraine or the latest bill that did or didn't pass or whatever you want.
But that's the same defense that's given when there's a sensational murder trial that gets wall to wall.
Sure.
Well, there are plenty of outlets for it. So I mean, there does need to be some kind of balance, don't you think?
I do think that. Look, there's a lot of really, really important stuff going on in the world right now, and the only major cable news outlet to really handle a story like Ukraine right now, for instance, that can actually have, has reporters on the ground in Sevastopol and in Kiev and Moscow is CNN, right? Like MSNBC just doesn't have that, and Fox News just doesn't have that. Yeah. So, I think they should fill more time with that. I have to tell you a funny media story really quick.
Sure.
Bill O'Reilly.
There's no place for funny stories on this show.
Bill O'Reilly is on air last night, and he does his opening rant against CNN and how much they're going wall to wall with all this coverage. I mean, he's just like ranting against the media's obsession with this.
Well, he's getting beaten in the ratings right now.
He is getting beaten in the ratings. But then he ends that segment, and he goes straight in to a segment on the missing plane in which he interviews various people about the missing plane.
Hang on.
Incredible.
Stop the presses, folks. Are you telling me that Fox News and Bill O'Reilly in particular was guilty of hypocrisy?
I'm shocked.
I'm just surprised it wasn't another segment on Benghazi.
Well, it was the Benghazi connection to the plane.
That's true.
You know the plane is in Libya, right?
No, yes, of course. Of course.
You do know that.
Well, this gets to like the age-old question of giving people what they want or giving people what you think that they want. And so when you look at the ratings of CNN, do people want this plane coverage?
Yeah, the ratings have spiked enormously.
There you go.
Yeah. And at the end, the other thing
is that because that's people are being fed that constantly, or is it because they're flocking to CNN because they want it?
Well, there's a certain degree. I once knew a guy, a very smart guy, who said, look, if you want to raise the IQ or raise the general intelligence of the United States, mandate that once a month, every single channel across television has to show some version of Shakespeare. It can be old Shakespeare. It can be new adaptations of Shakespeare. It can be whatever you want. But if you do that, you will raise the intelligence by virtue of the fact that a lot of people just turn on the TV and need to watch something. It doesn't matter what it is. That said, the news landscape is really diverse. I get down on CNN whenever they go on like some stupid court trial, but it is really diverse. People are going to go where they're going to go. Sometimes they're not even going to watch the news. And you have to a certain degree, you have to give them what they want. Because if you only have like 200,000 people watching what they don't want, and you got 900,000 people watching what they do want, you're going to have to...
Yeah.
That's just a business decision.
Can we just talk for a second about the fact that CNN had one of their anchors floating supernatural theories about the plane?
That was a little much.
Courtney Love works for CNN now?
You know what? Courtney Love, CNN should hire up Courtney Love.
I saw what she was doing on Reddit, or what are the kids on these days?
Yeah.
Was it Snapchat again?
Something like that.
And she's got some real thoughts. She's got some real thoughts.
She's got some thoughts, all right.
Yeah.
But it was first of all,
I missed this. So what was CNN doing?
It was Don Lemon.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he floated this
smart guy.
A smart guy. And he floated this idea that it could be a supernatural occurrence that
like
took
a ghost?
the plane. Like a black hole. Well, black holes were also discussed aside from the natural. He was sort of saying,
black holes technically
no,
natural?
that's what I'm saying. So he had a whole supernatural rant about how these people could have been taken.
It was magic.
Like it was the rapture situation.
Or it was like one of those like waves from implosion that happened at the beginning of the creation of the universe.
I can't believe we're talking about this. It sounds as crazy as anything else, but he was talking about it seriously. Put it out there.
And he's you reported recently, Dylan, that Don Lemon is one of the people they're considering for prime time now. Aren't they?
They're going to run him in prime. This is another problem in CNN. They don't really know what to do, so the strategy is sort of throw everything against the wall and see what sticks. And so right now,
including ghosts and the rapture,
they should have a ghost. They should have a ghost. They should have a ghost take that Piers Morgan slot. They should put a ghost in there. They should just have an empty chair and have like a little animatronic thing where it swivels to the camera.
So you're just talking about another hour of Wolf Blitzer's show.
That's it. That's right. I would watch the Ghost Hour. I would watch the Ghost Hour on CNN. You wouldn't watch that? All right, so. We'll see what happens. I mean, they're still just they keep on going. In fact,
I can tell you what's going to happen.
I just got a push notification from CNN, by the way.
Does it say what happened?
Let's see. Go ahead and tell me what you think is going to happen. I'll tell you what it says.
It's like most,
I want to hear more wild speculation.
I actually want to hear. Yeah, forget what's actually going to happen. I want to hear what should have.
Here's what they said. I just got it. Australian search teams have ended their mission for the day with no sign of debris from the missing Malaysian air jet. So they're calling it a day. They're not going to search anymore today.
So I'm sorry. I have not been up to date on the debris situation we have here. Did they found debris, or they think they found debris, but now they haven't found debris?
So
exactly.
Awesome.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
Crushed it.
They found some debris, not physically spotted it and pulled it, but they spotted through radar or sonar or whatever. They found significant chunks of debris. So now they have to go out there and see what that debris is and if they can spot it, but they haven't been able to see it yet. So they spent yesterday looking for it, and they just called it a day, and they didn't find it.
Got it. So Dylan,
Yes.
what do you believe is going to happen?
Keep going with your wild theories.
Yes, you
Actually, okay,
speculate.
so there is a
If
part
there's
of
no
me-
magic involved, Dylan, I'm tuning out.
I watched enough Bond movies in my childhood
Good
to
start, good
not
start.
completely rule out that this thing like landed somewhere and and then like went underground and now these people are being held somewhere. The truth is that it's probably going to be an enormous letdown, and I don't mean that to sound insensitive to how tragic this situation is. I just mean that like all of these theories are going to be thrown out for maybe weeks or months more, and then at the end of the day, it's going to be like, you know what, it actually did go down somewhere in the water. It crashed. The pilots fell asleep. There's no terrorism. There's no conspiracy. There's no. I mean, that's just. Yeah. That's a 99.9% chance that that's the case.
I'm starting to get that impression too. The more I hear about it.
And Dylan, I think you touched on something that is important. This is a tragedy.
Yeah.
And that is the downside of the continual media coverage. You get numb to the actual humans
Completely.
that were, their lives were lost in this, and the lives that were affected by those losses.
You know what will remind you of that is these images we saw the other day of the families being dragged out of a press conference.
Cow.
Like dragged, and this one woman who has become like the face for the survivors' family, for the families of those who were in the plane.
Mhm.
Is this woman, and she's just like screaming this like gut-wrenching pitch of a scream as she's being dragged out of this press conference, refusing to go home, refusing to give up because she wants to know what happened. And that is like this sudden reminder. It's like you can snark about it and come up with theories about it for 24 hours a day, and then you see that and you're like, wow.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got more to talk about from the media with Dylan Byers, media reporter for Politico. Follow him on Twitter at Dylan Byers.
Or don't.
Save that follow and give it to Wolf Levy.
Yeah, we have very different approaches about how to get
Go give it to someone who
there.
needs it. Jonathan Levy, Executive Director of General Majority PAC, who is sitting in with us for the show today. He's on Twitter at Wolf Levy. My name is Peter Ogburn, hosting the show. I'm on Twitter at Peter Ogburn. I wouldn't follow me if I were you. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Did you see the world differently? Did you celebrate the victory?
So today, I state clearly and with conviction America's commitment to seek the peace and security of a world without nuclear weapons.
Did you stand up against our greatest threat? Did you commit to change the world?
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show. Peter Ogburn and Jonathan Levy sitting in for Bill today. We brought in our good friend Dylan Byers, media reporter for Politico, to talk about the media landscape. Dylan, Jonathan, thank you for being here, gentlemen.
Absolute pleasure, Peter.
It's sort of a pleasure.
Although I was promised tacos.
We may still work the taco thing out. We're not going to get tacos. We don't have time for tacos.
I just put an appeal out on Twitter, actually, for
Did you
anyone
really?
to bring us tacos.
I retweeted it.
Dylan, let me talk to you about the president and his appearance on Between Two Ferns, the Zach Galifianakis, air quotes, talk show, comedy routine. He took some heat from some people for saying that it was, goofy and not productive. And Bill O'Reilly said Abraham Lincoln wouldn't have done a show like that.
Right.
And the president has now fired back.
It's a great point. It's a really valid point.
Totally makes sense. President's pushing back on that a little bit.
Yeah, he is. And, there was a smart pushback from Jonathan Chait a couple weeks, maybe a week ago, about how...
Great writer for New York Magazine.
Yeah, about, since when was it the role of the press... Great plug.
Yeah, man.
Since when was it the role of the press corps to, or the media in general, to somehow, suggest that the president should be, there should be greater sanctity to that job and that he should be less accessible. You know what I mean? And that he shouldn't, have the freedom to be a human being and appear, and if he can appear on late night.
Right.
That's not a question of how ridiculous something is. It's just a question of different demographics.
He was the first sitting president, I believe, to appear on a late night program.
Oh, was he?
Yes. Candidates had appeared previously.
had done.
But he was the first. He got a lot of flack for it at the time, too. He did Jay Leno. And there was something about bowling. I don't remember the whole thing, but people got upset about it.
Oh,
People are going to get upset at him about everything.
The whole fill in the blank is beneath the office of the presidency is so tired.
The other thing is, if those people who don't take the president seriously, they're not taking him seriously because he appeared on a late night show on Zach Galifianakis. They're not taking him seriously for other reasons.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. All right, well, we'll follow what the president does next. It's going to be hard to top something as absurd as Between Two Ferns, but I'm all for it.
He was just on Ellen, and it looked a little ridiculous, so you might have something there.
All right, Dylan Byers, thanks, man.
This is the Bill Press Show.
So this is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. Pressing dot, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket. and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
Connect with The Bill Press Show on Twitter. Follow us at BP Show and tweet using the hashtag WatchingBP. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show, 33 minutes past the hour. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill today on this Friday, March 21st. Sitting in with me today is Jonathan Levy. He is the executive director of the General Majority PAC. Follow him on Twitter at Wolf Levy.
Thrilled to be here, Peter.
A great Twitter handle, by the way.
Thank you. I was blessed with a great middle name. My mother's last name, just to bring her back into another segment.
Hey, Bonnie.
Wolf. So, Wolf Levy.
I love it.
When I was an actor, we considered that as my stage name for
Wolf
a while.
Levy?
Yes.
Pretty hardcore.
Yes.
I like it. He's been with us for most of the show, and we're joined now by the chair of the D.C. Cannabis campaign, Adam Eindinger, in studio. Adam, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me in.
You can follow Adam on Twitter at Eindinger, Eidinger. So we are going to talk about the movement to legalize marijuana here in Washington, D.C. It's a topic we've talked a lot about here, with covering what's been going on in Colorado and Washington State. And what are you looking to have happen here in Washington, D.C.?
Well, we want to use our ballot initiative laws to
put a question to the voters. Should people be able to possess minimal amounts of marijuana for personal use without fear of arrest, having their houses raided, or even having the marijuana seized from them? So we're saying that under 2 ounces of marijuana or up to 3 mature plants in your home should not even be a government concern whatsoever. No taxes, nothing. You have the right to that. And we'd like to put tax and regulate similar to Colorado and Washington State on the ballot. We just can't do that here.
Why not?
Well, we have a sort of a rule that we can't legislate spending. And that can only be done by the city council and the mayor and Congress, really. So what we can do is we can put a question about is something legal or not, and then we would ultimately go back to the city council and say, see, the voters said yes, they want to legalize. Let's put a comprehensive a law together. But in the meantime, the arrests would stop, people's homes wouldn't be raided. And we just passed decriminalization of marijuana here. People should not confuse the two. They're different. And under decrim, people will still be ticketed. People will still be arrested even for smoking in public. If you have less than an ounce, you would just get a ticket and you'd have your marijuana seized. That seems like second-class status. That's like don't ask, don't tell for cannabis users. All right, it's a step forward, but it's really not where we want to be. We want to be a place in a society where we're treated equally, we're not discriminated against. And a few years ago, I would use this terminology of discrimination. This is a civil rights issue. We're targeting minorities 8-1 over whites, or being arrested, even though whites use more marijuana than blacks. This is a civil rights issue. I kept saying that, and people said, it's not a civil rights issue, and people would yell at me, like, you stop saying that, you're degrading our civil rights heritage by saying that marijuana is a civil rights issue. But there is no issue that 700,000 people a year are being locked up for that it doesn't harm anyone, except, and really even the user, I would argue, is not being harmed by their use, as long as you're not abusing it. So this is a civil rights issue. People aren't going to jail for their access to abortion. People aren't going to jail because they want to have they aren't getting the right to vote. Okay, they're not being locked up because they're organizing for voter access. Ballot access. No one's being arrested for that, but people are being arrested left and right for marijuana. It's about 50% of the arrests in this city right now are marijuana arrests.
I'm curious to know what kind of response you're getting from politicians here in the district, because I think it used to be a politically deadly topic for a politician to come close to, and now it's one that I think a lot of politicians are finding is not quite as deadly as it used to be.
The simple answer is polls. We took a poll last April, and it came out, and we found that 63% of district residents want to legalize marijuana like Colorado and Washington. 63%. I mean, we're pushing 2/3 of the public, and yet the politicians continue to push a law that originally was written by Klan members. Okay? The original marijuana laws in this country in 1936-37, when they were being pushed, were all being pushed by the Ku Klux Klan. And it was right after alcohol prohibition ended, and the police were looking for something to do. And they thought, how can we oppress minorities that we were already oppressing? We can do it through marijuana. So these are racist laws. And we've been calling them that. And politicians will look at you like, don't call me what I support a racist law, And it's an African-American politician saying that to you. Well, you know what? And then change the law. I'm a white guy, and I can look at you right in the eye. I don't care if you're African-American. I don't care if you're Native American. I don't care what your race is. These are racist laws because they are applied 8 times more likely to target minorities. We can't even have this law without it being misapplied. So it's time to get rid of the law altogether. But then look at the science. There's no one has ever died from marijuana. No one has ever showed up in an emergency room and overdosed like on heroin or alcohol. That's never happened. We have to look at the science. And I think finally, with the polls going in our favor, with the science always, actually showing it's not a dangerous substance, with the president having the courage to stand up to his own Department of Justice, and just last week, the Department of Health and Human Services signed off on medical marijuana research for the first time to develop botanical drugs, not synthetics, but actual drugs from the plant itself. That's never happened before. In 22 years, this group called the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, they have been seeking permission to get some of this cannabis that the United States government grows down at the University of Mississippi to research various things. And this is a PTSD study, see if it helps people sleep. They just got this approved after 22 years of asking.
Wow.
And I look at the White House and I say they're making a political calculation. It's time to change this. The Democrats don't want to be caught off guard. They want to be the legalization party, not the Republicans. You've got a legalization candidate potentially going to be the Republican nominee with Rand Paul. And, I think Democrats are making a calculation. Now it's time to act before we lose this issue.
Well, I mean, politically, there does seem to be a major shift. A lot of people have pointed out it mirrors gay marriage or marriage equality on this. What do you think because it's happened rapidly, like marriage equality, what has been kind of the tipping point? Why is this accelerating right now?
Well, maybe there's a demographic shift going on with the baby boomers. They're aging. A lot of them are dying. I don't want to be, my parents are getting up there in age, and they're boomers. I've argued with my mother and father for years that marijuana should be legal. I don't get their support on this until this year. This is the first year. And so I'm hearing from boomers in Florida that are retired that, maybe we should legalize. And also there will be a medical marijuana on the ballot in Florida this year. And it was put there by a millionaire Democratic donor who has never cared about the issue before, but now realizes it will bring out young voters and that will help the up-ballot candidates running for governor and Congress in Florida.
Wow.
Yeah, that's happening.
Can you explain a little bit of the difference between decriminalization and legalization and like where people might be a little cloudy on that? Because you hear a lot about both these days.
Well, our group in D.C. has been fighting for legalization from day one. Mm-hmm. We think that's the only comprehensive solution. One of the city council members here said she was against decriminalization of marijuana because that's a little different, saying that it's like saying you're decriminalizing murder. Murder can't be both legal and illegal. It's either legal or it's illegal. So she's saying decriminalization sends an unclear message. Is it legal or is it illegal? Well, civilly, it's illegal. Okay? If you can get a ticket under decriminalization, it says, I'm taking your marijuana, you're getting a $100 ticket or $25 ticket, and you pay that ticket, and you never go to court, you never have due process. That's it. That's decriminalization. Legalization is people are licensed to sell it. People have a right to grow a small amount. People have a right to possess a certain amount before it's considered too much. I mean, we never go into people's houses and actually count how many wine bottles there are, do we?
Right.
But that's,
I do. I'm a really unpleasant dinner guest.
Yeah, Jonathan does. That's true.
We want to treat marijuana like alcohol. So if you can have unlimited amounts of wine in your house or unlimited amounts of liquor in your house, even with children around, you're allowed to do that. Then why can't you have unlimited amounts of marijuana in your house? It's someone might break into your house to steal the alcohol. Someone might break into your house to steal your jewelry. And someone might break into your house to steal your marijuana. But that's not a reason to make it illegal.
But there are folks who say that there is a difference between alcohol and marijuana in terms of what it leads to, that it's a gateway drug, that it's an access point. How do you respond to that?
I think the real gateway drug is alcohol. I think it is shown time and time again that alcohol is highly addictive, that people who begin with alcohol are more likely to use other substances. I think marijuana is actually a substance for abandoning certain addictions. I know people that use marijuana daily who were heroin addicts who couldn't get off heroin until they started using marijuana. And marijuana ostensibly is a lot safer than heroin. I mean, 1,000 times safer.
That's not a very high bar to clear.
Well, I think, but no, heroin's a real problem in our society. It's actually growing. It somehow has been picked. It's been getting popular in our high schools, even in this area. There's been we've had a wave of overdoses, and there was one Virginia high school had 22 overdoses. Heroin is dangerous. If you right now, the same person who sells heroin also sells marijuana. Because it's all in the underground economy. Take marijuana
You have
out.
to diversify.
Take it out. Take it away from the black market. You take away 90% of the illicit drug market's business is marijuana. 90%. Take it away from them. Let those same people who maybe, even if they have criminal records, I say license them, train them, and let them sell marijuana in designated places in the city and in shops, like in Amsterdam, like coffee shops. Keep marijuana and alcohol separate so that if you want to sell alcohol, okay, you can sell alcohol. But as soon as you mix the two, you get this compounding effect and you get really effed up people. I won't say it on the air, but you get people that are going to be falling down and they wonder, wow, he smoked some pot, he drank some alcohol, and now he's a mess. they should be separate. That's what Holland did. We should look at Holland. They have lower use of marijuana among teenagers than we do, and they have legal marijuana.
Legal, right.
Is it legal or decriminalized there? I actually don't know.
You're correct. It's decriminalized. So a lot of people think of it as legal because it feels like it's legal. You can go into a store, you can buy it. But there are these weird rules that technically make it decriminalized. It's they'll tolerate up to 2 kilograms of cannabis in a facility.
I don't know the metric system. What is
it's like pounds. It's like 4 pounds. So so they'll tolerate a lot of cannabis on site, and they'll tolerate a lot of selling of cannabis. So much so that you can have a whole business. But as soon as you have more than the 2 kilograms, all right, you're in criminal amounts. And what they usually do is they seize everything, they fine you tens of thousands of dollars, and then the person just goes back and buys all their property back and gets back in business. That's how it works in Amsterdam. It's kind of silly.
So that sort of seems to be an argument for decriminalization over legalization.
You could say that, but that's like a super decrim, and what we got in DC is the most restricted decrim. I think it's not really going to protect people. People will still be arrested.
We got to go to a break. DCMJ.org. Chairman of the DC Cannabis Campaign, Adam Eindinger. Thank you so much for coming in, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good stuff. All right, it's the Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn. Jonathan Levy sitting in, and we'll be back in just a few moments.
This is the Bill Press Show.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Columbine, Virginia Tech,
Tucson,
Aurora,
Fort Hood, Oak Creek,
Newtown.
Newtown,
Newtown.
Newtown.
How many more?
How many more? How many more colleges? How many more classrooms?
How many more movie theaters?
How many more houses of faith?
How many more shopping malls?
How many more street corners?
How many more?
How many more?
Enough.
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 Demand a plan.
Right now. As a mom.
As a dad. As a friend. As a husband.
As a wife.
As an American.
As an American.
As an American.
As a human being.
For the children of Sandy Hook.
Demand a plan. No more lists of names. It's not too soon.
It's too late.
Now is the time.
Before we all know someone who loved someone on that list.
No more lists.
No more.
Who they might have been. No more.
If we had just done something yesterday. It's time.
We can do better than this.
We can do better than this.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time for our leaders to act. Demand a plan. Right now.
Right now.
You! Demand it!
Enough.
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 None of us would want to be told we can't marry the person we love. As Americans, we believe in freedom. That's what I fought for as a Marine, and that's what we believe in as Republicans. Freedom means freedom for everyone. I didn't used to understand the importance of same-sex marriage, but after learning my brother was gay, I wanted the same rights for him. He was the best man at my wedding, and I want to be the best man at his. It's only fair that Calvin should have the freedom to marry the person he loves, too.
It's time for marriage.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show. Happy Friday, March 21st. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill today. Ably assisted by Jonathan Levy. The lovely Levy. Levy. Ably assisted by the executive director of the General Majority PAC, Jonathan Levy. A must follow on Twitter at Wolf Levy. My favorite Thinkfluencer on Twitter.
Thinkfluencer.
That's right.
Did you just create that? Or is that one of those internet memes?
That's a thing.
Am I saying that right? Meme?
Wolf Levy on Twitter. Did you do a bracket?
No.
Okay.
Peter, I pick teams based on color of uniform.
Well, that's what Bill does.
You
know what?
Bill probably wins.
Last year, Bill won. You want to know why?
Why?
He picked Louisville to win it all. You want to know why I picked Louisville? He really liked saying the word Louisville. I kid you not.
As Bill and I are the same in that. I went to NYU. We didn't have a college team. My parents didn't go to schools with college teams. Like, it's not part of my life.
So we're doing the office thing here on the Bill Press Show. Bill is currently tied for first with Elisa. Alicia is in second place. And I put my foot down. I didn't do a bracket this year.
Congratulations.
Because
what a great stand to take, Peter.
Well, no, I mean, look, people get so they become like a slave to their bracket, right? So you begin rooting for teams that you don't even care about,
right? Do you care
instead
about
of just
any
rooting
teams?
for the no,
okay,
not really. So what I did is I did do an office bracket, but I let my 6-year-old Magnus Ogburn pick all the teams, and so he has Florida winning it all. You want to know why he picked Florida to win it all?
He likes alligators?
Because that's where Disney World is.
Oh, smart kid.
He picked Michigan to be in the Final Four. You want to know why he picked Michigan to go to the Final Four? Because their mascot is a Wolverine, and that's his favorite comic book character.
I like the way your son thinks here.
Right?
That's a smart kid.
It's a decent Final Four. He's got Florida, Virginia. He picked Virginia because it's close.
Mm-hmm.
Arizona, and Michigan. I don't know where Arizona came from, but
he likes a dry heat.
But Magnus is currently tied for last place with Cyprian. But it's just the first round. But yesterday there were all kinds of upsets. Dayton beat Ohio State. Harvard beating Cincinnati. So it was
Harvard.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize Harvard was in the tournament.
Harvard were the underdogs, which is really hard to call Harvard an underdog ever.
Does anyone who didn't go to Harvard root for Harvard ever?
No. I certainly don't. Hey, we never played that clip of the Wheel of Fortune thing.
Oh, I love this.
This is amazing.
It's amazing.
So this guy he's on Wheel of Fortune. His chance to win the game is it's the category is thing. That's all the information he was given. Thing. And it's NE blank 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 blank. And he has to, and he's got, it's 3 words, and it's NE, and then all spaces, thing. Here's how it went down. That's the wheel.
Very exciting radio we've got going on here, guys.
Hold me, please. Thank you. Follow me. Thank you.
So he gets to pick some letters.
You to get right on that mark. And let's get you working on this puzzle now. The category tonight.
Let's get
Thing. RSTLNE.
Thing's a great category.
Thing.
No more? You stopped all of a sudden there, didn't you? All right. 3 more consonants and a vowel.
H.
1.
M.
2.
D.
And a vowel.
O.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Vanna?
Nothing.
Vanna? Hello, Vanna?
Nothing.
Wow.
Hello, Vanna.
Well,
he's sunk.
This looks tough to me.
N-E
It's a thing.
blank, blank,
You're
blank,
a very
blank,
good
blank,
puzzle
blank.
solver, but I don't know. You have 10 seconds. Keep talking. Maybe the right thing will pop out. Good luck.
New baby buggy. New
Obviously.
baby. New. That. Oh.
Boom.
New baby buggy.
Just like that.
What is a new baby buggy?
Who calls a baby buggy anymore?
Anymore? Is that something that used to exist?
Yeah, like a buggy. It's like a stroller.
Like a stroller?
Mark my words, this was some sort of publicity stunt. Jimmy Kimmel's in on this somehow. I get the feeling that Jimmy Kimmel is behind this. But there's no way that dude just legit picked new baby buggy out of thin air.
He was a great puzzle solver.
False flag. Hashtag false flag.
I'm gonna have to start watching Wheel of Fortune again.
We gotta take a quick break. Peter Ogren and Jonathan Levy in for Bill Press. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
So this is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. Racing dot. I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
ArborDay.org.
See what we're doing.
This is the Bill Press Show.
And now, it is the Bill Press Show. One quick segment. First of all, big thanks to Jonathan Levy. You can follow him on Twitter at Wolf Levy, who came in and sat in with me for a couple hours today. Thank you, Jonathan.
Oh, it's been my pleasure.
And good to see you again.
It's good to see you too. And thank you to the whole team here. This is a crack crew.
Look at that. You guys don't get enough credit. That's right.
That's because they work with you, Peter.
Cyprian, Elisa, Alicia. Thanks, everybody, for a great week of shows. Bill is out next week, but we have a cavalcade of network stars to come in and help steer the ship. Evan McMorris Santoro, Clinton Yates, and Sabrina Siddiqui, all hosting next week, along with yours truly. Thank you all so very much for being here. Follow us on Twitter at BP Show.
This is the Bill Press Show.